Hey listeners, how are you all? Thank you so much for being our awesome members. There's a lot to come more. Sit tight, be comfy, put your headphones, now let's begin. Walking in the dark woods of the feared forest of death was a young boy with bright blonde hair and ice blue eyes wearing a pair of tattered black shorts, ruined red shirt and a pair of worn-out shoes. No, most would find it odd to see a young boy barely 6 years old to walk in a place with such a name, but this boy was different. This boy went by many names: Naruto Uzumaki Namakazi to those who knew nothing of his family life. Just Naruto to the few that did, but they mostly used the name Demon, the scorn of the village. Why is this village filled with such idiots? I mean, come on, this is the 6th time this week that those dumb asses chased me into here, and for what? To get revenge. Bunch of morons, Naruto yelled in frustration at the sheer idiocy of the villagers. Walking further into the forest, Naruto sees his one safe haven in the entire village, a large cave. To most it would be strange to call a cave a safe haven, but to Naruto, it was like paradise since no one knew about it but him. Walking inside the large cave, Naruto walked until he reached a large open area with a few things that he used to train, like a couple of practice dummies and some stray kunai and shuriken and a few scrolls here and there. It's good to be back here. Sometimes I wonder why I ever go back to that village, Naruto muttered to himself before shaking his head, getting rid of the though. Gee, not the time to think of any of that. Today's the day I explore some more of this cave. Who knows, I might find something of worth. Oh, you have no idea. Grabbing a flashlight and some rope, Naruto heads towards further into the cave. After hours of exploring, Naruto was starting to get frustrated. Rocks and look more rocks. Kami, why can't I find anything in this stupid cave? Venting his frust, ration, Naruto kept kicking a wall until he hears 2 different sounds. Crack, bam, fuck, I think I just broke my foot, cried Naruto, holding his injured foot whilst looking at the now broken wall in awe. Tay, stupid wall hurting my foot like that, why I oughta wait a wall, finally I found something. Yada. Forgetting about his injured foot, Naruto starts walking down the new path. I swear if I find nothing. Gee, but more rock I'm going to flip, Naruto whispered to himself. Walking for what felt like hours was actually 10 minutes, but he is 6 and has short legs. Naruto found something he didn't expect to find. Right in front of him were 2 massive metal doors covered in rust with a large circle in the middle with a faded image of a dragon's head. What the hell is something like this doing in a cave? Wah. King closer to get a better look at the doors. Naruto became curious as to what could be on the other side of the doors, so he placed both of his hands on the door using all the strength his 6-year-old boy had to try and open the doors, but they didn't budge at all. Stupid doors won't budge. Walking away from the door in sadness that it wouldn't open, Naruto turns on his heel and runs at the door, hoping the added speed would help him. Only to trip and go face first into the door, causing his head to bleed, which splattered on the door as he fell on his back. As the dripped down the door, the blood stopped moving and began flowing upwards to the center of the door, making it glow before stopping. Still dazed from his trip to the floor, Naruto held his head in pain, using the door to hold himself up. Naruto wiped blood from his head with his free hand, still not noticing the door glow slightly until it flew open, sending Naruto to the floor once again, pissing him off. Okay, I have had it with this fucking cave. First my foot, then my head, and now I'm being made to eat the dirt by a door. A fucking door, ranted Naruto, but stopped when he looked at the room he fell into with wide eyes. The room looked ancient and was covered in ice from the floor to the walls. The only wall still viable through the ice had faces carved into it, reminding him of the Hokage mountain. The most shocking part was a large blue orb floating in the center of the room, surrounded by pillars of ice and stone. What is something like this doing here? Naruto asked aloud, walking closer to the orb, being careful so not to slip on the icy floor. Naruto got a clearer look at the orb and saw a shadow floating in the middle of the mysterious orb. Wanting to find out what it was, he carefully edged closer to it, but almost fell when a voice boomed around the room. So someone with the blood of the past has finally found this place, though I didn't think it would be one so young. Why are you here, boy? Boomed the voice, scaring Naruto. I found this cave years ago when my family locked me out of the house and the villagers chased me into the forest of death, and I have been coming back ever since. This is the only safe place I know of, answered Naruto, scared he had trespassed and was about to die for it. Why would your family lock you out, and for what reason would these villagers chase you? The voice asked in a slightly gentler voice. My family don't care about me. My father thinks I'm a waste of space that isn't worthy of breathing, and my mother doesn't even look at me. Naruto had tears gather in his eyes. Think about it, but the worst is my sister, Mito. She knows that they don't love me and rubs it in my face every chance she gets. Wiping the tears away, Naruto continues, as for the villagers, they see me as a demon because my father sealed the chakra of the Kyuubi into my sister and the soul into me, finished Naruto with anger in his voice. These people foolish to think such things about you. I can sense you potential to become a strong fighter, and even Theseus' old eyes can see you are no demon. Naruto wasn't sure, but he swore he heard the anger in the voice's voice. Child, do you wish to prove them wrong? Show them the power you hold within you. Not expecting the voice to ask anything, Naruto could only say one thing. You say something. Somewhere in Konaha. Achoo. Why do I suddenly feel a sense of pride? Asked a white-haired man before shrugging and went back to reading an orange book. Giggle. Oh Hitomi, you naughty girl. The poor bastard never noticed the group of kunoichi behind him. Back with Naruto. I said, would you like to prove everyone wrong about you? Asked the voice again, a little irritated at what Naruto said. A shocked look appeared on Naruto's face, but was replaced by one of confusion. No offense, Mr. Voice, but how can you teach me you're a voice? Asked Naruto, was not understanding how a voice could teach him how to be a strong badass fighter. Ha, I suppose that this is my fault for not introducing myself face to face. Look at the orb, child, and you will see how. Looking over to the blue orb, Naruto was shocked to see the shadow start to move. Walk out of the orb, revealing an old man with long gray hair and chilling blue eyes with a scar going from his eyebrow to the bottom of his eye. My name is Kuay Liang, or better known as Subzero Bu. Starting from now you will be calling me master, stated Kuay with a smirk on his face at seeing the look of awe on Naruto's face. After announcing Naruto as his student, Kuay expected many things, a small bow or a cheer of excitement. He was not, however, prepared for the bombardment of questions the little blonde kept asking him. What will I be learning? A small tick mark appeared on Kuay's head. Will I be able to blow stuff up? The tick mark got bigger. How did you get that scar? Kuay's balled his fist. Will I learn cool fighting styles? Left eye beginning to twitch in irritation. Will I? Shut up! Shouted Kuay in irritation at the constant questions. Seeing that he pissed off his new teacher already, Naruto bowed. Sorry sensei, it won't happen again, promised Naruto, getting a nod. For Kuay, see that it doesn't, but since you are so eager to learn, I will tell you what this place is. Millennia ago there were many worlds, but two were in a constant war. They were this world known as Earth Rs. Known as Outworld. To stop this war, the Elder Gods created a competition that pitted the best warriors from both worlds against each other in mortal combat. Earth Realm won, but the leader of Outworld, Shao Kahn, attacked anyway. We won, but it cost us greatly. As punishment, the Elder Gods destroyed him. Looking to Naruto to see if he was still paying attention, he was happy to see the amount of attention Naruto was paying to his story. It was later discovered that Shao Kahn had been manipulated into attacking Earth Realm by a sorcerer called Quan Kai to lower the Earth's defenses, making it easier for Shinnok, a former Elder God, to invade Earth Realm. Fortunately, he was stopped by Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade, who trapped him inside an amulet where he was kept a prisoner for 25 years but was released by his followers. After his release, he tried to gain the power of the Jinsei, which is the life force of Earth, but was stopped by Cassie Cage, the daughter of Johnny and Sonya. After Hinnock was defeated and Earth safe once again, I returned to the Lin Kuei Temple. As the years went by and the world began to change, my people began to die out with only me left standing. I asked Raiden to allow me to stay here in the Jinsei and wait for a person worthy of my teachings, and that is you, young Naruto. You will be my legacy to this world. Kuay looked over to see Naruto shed silent tears. What is wrong, my student? Asked Kuay, not sure why Naruto would start crying at his words. It's just that you're the first person to actually acknowledge me, stuttered Naruto, wiping away his tears of joy. Smiling at his student, Kuay ruffles his hair. When I am done teaching you, Naruto, everyone will know exactly who they have wronged. Smiling at his teacher, Naruto starts bouncing on the balls of his feet. So sensei, what are we going to do first? Asked Naruto, barely containing his excitement. First you are going to write a letter to your family and I will place it in your bedroom for them to find, and after, well, let's just say you're going to be rather busy for the next 10 years, ha ha ha, laughed Kuay, scaring Naruto about what plans his sensei had for him. Sitting in front of a piece of paper and pen in hand, Naruto wasn't sure what to say in the letter, but then thought of all the things that they have said to him over the years. I wish you weren't my brother. You're such a disappointment. Why can't you be more like your sister? Filled with a newfound rage, Naruto began to write his letter to his ex-family. Done already, I see, well, pass it here and I will deliver it, said Kuay. Passing the letter to his teacher, Naruto had a thought pop in his head. Sensei, will I be learning how to use chakra at all during my training? Asked Naruto, making Kuay think for a moment. I will gather material for you to learn from later during your training, since I want you totally focused on my training, since he did not know of the powers people had in this era. Okay, sensei. When the time comes, I would like some stuff on elements and sealing, would be great, and maybe some scrolls on genjutsu, listed Naruto, making Kuay nod before letting himself fall backwards and disappear into the ice floor, leaving a starry-eyed Naruto behind. I am so leaning that, muttered Naruto in awe. Outside the Namakazi house. It's been a while since I have done that, said Kuay, breathing slightly heavier than normal. Regaining his, Kuay looks around for the best place to break in from, but sees weird black marking along most of the walls and window that for some reason sent off his warning senses. Looking around the house once more, Kuay sees one small window that has no markings on and decides that would be his entry point. Climbing to the window with relative ease even at his age, Kuay silently opens the window to the room and finds himself inside a small plain bedroom with white walls and bed. Must be Naruto's room. Glad he found the room so easily, Kuay places the letter on the bed so it is easy to see, and was about to leave again when he heard people talking on the overside of the door. Outside Naruto's room. Are you sure this will work, Minato-kun? Asked a beautiful red EAD with worry in her voice, looking at the blonde Hokage. Trust me, Kushina-chan, this seal will work fine. Once I place it on Naruto, all his chakra will be absorbed into it, leaving only the minimum to then we place the seal on Mito and give it to her, said Minato, making Kushina frown. But this seems wrong. I know I said I didn't want my baby to have to fight for a living, but to steal his chakra is too much, said Kushina, making Minato sigh in annoyance. It is for the good of Konaha, said Minato, making Kushina's eyes glaze over and nod in agreement. See, you agree, but I want to make sure the seal key works properly first, so I'll leave it for later. Walking away from the door, Minato headed towards his office, leaving Kushina to stand there with glazed eyes and a single tear rolling down her face. With Kuay, well, shit just hit the fan, better get back to Naruto, but I mustn't tell him about this yet, it could get him killed, said Kuay before falling backwards and disappearing into the now frozen floor. At the Jinsei, appearing from the frozen floor, Kuay looks to see Naruto asleep atop of a small rock, staring at his student's sleeping form, but remembers there is still things to do before they can start his training. Naruto, wake up, ordered Kuay, hearing his teacher's voice. Naruto opens his eyelids. Morning, sensei, are we going to train now? Asked a sleepy but excited Naruto. Ning a serious look on his face, Kuay folds his arms over his chest. Naruto, before we begin your training you need to do one more thing, stated Kuay, confusing Naruto about what he would have to do. Sure sensei, I'll do whatever it takes to become stronger, promised Naruto. Very well, before we begin your training you need to become a cryomancer so you can use ice as I do. To do this I will plaque my blood in you. This should allow you to become a cryomancer. Looking at his sensei with no small amount of worry. Sensei, you said should, what else could happen to me? Asked Naruto, making Kuay sigh. You could freeze from the inside out, stated Kuay, making Naruto go wide-eyed at the risk he was about to take. Thinking over the pros and cons for a few minutes, Naruto had his answer. Let's do this, sensei. Naruto shouted, surprising Kuay with his bravery. Not being one to be told twice, Kuay creates a syringe out of ice and takes his blood and injects it into Naruto. I don't feel any different, maybe I need more, ha 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 ha. Naruto began to scream as he felt the blood in his veins freeze. He continued to scream until ice started to cover his body, hiding it from view. Having nothing to do but wait in worry, Kuay sits down and meditates, praying for his new student to survive. After an hour of waiting for the ice surrounding Naruto cracked, making his body fall to the floor but didn't shatter like Kuay had feared it would. Walking over to his unconscious student, Kuay noticed some differences. His once blonde hair had turned white with hints of icy blue, his once tan complexion turned pale. Sleep, for now, my student, because when you wake you are going to go through hell. Well, what do you think? Let me know. Be reviewing. Anyway, nothing much else to say, so bye bye for now. Yo everyone, thanks for all the reviews so far. I like some of your ideas, like Ben Rayvale said about having someone trained to be like Scorpion, which I think I may use. Also, for those that play Mortal Kombat, then just to let you know, all brutalities will kill the people when used, cause no way is someone surviving that kinda stuff. I mean, come on, having your spine snapped and then have your skull caved in kills you. Not much else to say really. Thinking, normal talking, demon, jutsu. Opening his eyes, Naruto found himself laying face first on a solid block of ice, but strangely felt no cold or even a chill from it. Groggily getting up from the ice block, Naruto felt a dull pain go through his aching body. Damn, my body feels like I got hit by a train from Snow Country, whining around the room. Naruto sees his sensei meditating in the corner. Walking over to greet his teacher, Naruto catches his reflection in a wall of ice. What the hell happened to me? Exclaimed Naruto, looking at the unfamiliar face that was his reflection. His once sun-blonde hair had turned a snow white with ice blue highlights, his tan replaced by a pale skin, but the strangest change was his eyes. His once shining blue eyes had changed to a cold ice blue that would make most freeze with just a glimpse at him. I see you have noticed your changes. I must say you look more like a Lin Kuei recruit now. Getting a look that demanded answers. Kuei motions for him to sit. The reason for your new appearance is because your body had to change to become a cryomancer. This came with some added bonuses like greater strength and speed, higher pain tolerance, and a greater healing factor, and trust me, that last two will help during your training. Biwahaha, said Kuei, ending with a small evil laugh, sending a shiver down Naruto's spine. Now that is out of the way, we can talk about your training. Kuei could see Naruto's eye light up at the mention of training. To start with, you will learn the basics of Dragon Kung Fu until I deem you ready to learn any of its advanced techniques. Whilst learning that, I will teach you how to control ice and how to use it like a weapon. These lessons will continue until I say, then you will move on to the advanced things. By this point Naruto was jumping on the balls of his feet in excitement. Will I get to learn that badass ice teleport? Hope evident in his voice. It is called the Tombstone Teleport, and yes, in time you will learn and hopefully improve it, since it is far too predictable in most combat situations. With those words, a fire light in Naruto's eyes. I promise, sense. I will improve it and any other technique I learn, he promised, causing his sensei to smirk. That is quite the promise, Naruto, and one I hope you fulfill. But back to our earlier talk, your training ends today, so prepare yourself, because after we start there is no turning back. And with that he walked towards the training ground, leaving his student there to think for a few moments. Finally, the start of my new life away from this village and my ex-family, and with that Naruto ran after his teacher to start his training. Namakazi Mansion. Kushina Uzumaki was sitting at home reading a book, but felt a sudden pain go through her heart. Ah, why does my heart hurt? Why do I feel like I just lost something important? She muttered to herself, holding her chest in pain. Still holding her chest in pain, Kushina walks into the kitchen and sees Mito eating a sandwich. Hello Mito-chan, said Kushina, still holding her chest. Something Mito noticed. Are you okay, Ka-chan? Seeing that her daughter was worried, she put on a false smile. I'm okay Mito-chan, just feeling a bit under the weather. Seeing no reason not to believe her mother, Mito goes back to eating her sandwich. Watching her daughter eat her lunch, Kushina started to think about her family. Minato was normally busy with his duties as Hokage, and if he wasn't, he would be teaching Mito or working on his seals. Then there she, Mito, was allowed a energetic girl, reminding her a lot of herself at her age, especially with her red hair. And finally Naruto, the black sheep, one of the family, that being one of the nicer names she had heard Minato calling him. Naruto was a mystery, and saying he was distant would be putting it mildly. Not that she blamed him, for some reason no one seemed to care for him, regrettably not even her. Mito, have you seen your brother? Asked Kushina, making Mito look like she had just been slapped. Why would I know where that waste of space is? Asked Mito, shocking Kushina. Don't talk about your brother like that. Why? Yelled Kushina, making Mito look at her like she was crazy. Why not? It's the truth, he is useless and should do everyone a favor and slap. Holding her red cheek, Mito looked up to see her mother. Look at her in anger, something that scared her. Don't ever say that ever, do you understand? Yelled Kushina, getting a nod from Mito. Kushina bends down and wipes away her daughter's tears. Now we are both going to Naruto's room to see him, and you are going to say sorry, understand? Getting a nod, the two head upstairs and stand outside Naruto's room. Ka-chan, I can't remember ever going into Naruto's room before, said Mito, making Kushina think about the last time she went to kiss Naruto goodnight or read him a bedtime story, and she couldn't remember because she had never done it. Knockin' at the door a couple of times and getting no response, the two silently opened the door and frozen at what they saw. Naruto's bedroom was as plain as a prison cell, a single bed, a small desk in the corner, and gray walls without a single poster, hell, not even a drawing. Looking around the room for something to tell them where Naruto had gone to, Kushina sees a small slip of paper sitting on the bed. Feeling her heartbeat quicken, Kushina walks over to the note and starts to read. Dear ex-family, instead of writing about all of the horrible things I have had to go through, like the beating from the villagers and the neglect from you, I choose to only write 3 words to you. Goodbye forever. Finished reading the note, Kushina drops the note and breaks down sobbing on her knees, so followed by Mito, who picks up the fallen note. And so joins her mother crying on the floor. This is my fault, I wanted him to go, cried Mito as she held the note to her chest. No, Mito-chan, don't blame yourself, blame me. Minato and this village, wept Kushina. Staying in Naruto's room for hours crying over the loss of Naruto, the two redheads heard the front door close. Kushina-chan, Mito-chan, I'm home, called Minato from downstairs. Hearing their father's voice, the two rush downstairs and hug the life out of him, surprising him. Calm down you two and tell me what's the matter, said Minato, trying to comfort the two. It's Naruto, he's gone, cried Kushina, tightening her hold on Minato, making him wince. I'm sure he will be back soon from wherever he is, said Minato, who was panicking on the inside. Shit, did the little runt die in the forest? For the first time in his life, Minato wished Naruto wouldn't be dead. No, he won't, he ran away, he left a note, said Kushina, passing the note to Minato. Read it quickly, his anger rising with each word he read. Shit, this ruins my plan for the seal, muttered Minato, was not expecting Kushina or Mito to hear it. Unfortunately for him, he forgot that Kushina being an ex-Jinchuriku and Mito being the current one, their senses are more advanced than normal humans, so they heard his whisper like it was a shout. Controlling their anger at Minato, the two redheads release Minato from the hug and watch as emotions flash across his face from anger to annoyance. Kushina, the ink on this note looks a day old at best. I need to gather the Anbu to go and ack him down. And with that, Minato was gone in a yellow flash, leaving two angry redheads. Ka-chan, I get the feeling that Tu-san hates Naruto ni, said Mito with a confused look on her face, not understanding how her Tu-san could hate her brother. So do I, Mito, and I plan to find out why, said Kushina as she walked towards Minato's study, followed closely by Mito. Reaching Minato's office, Kushina notices the alarm seals on the door. Mito, run and get me a brush, some ink and paper. Running to get the supplies, Mito returns shortly after, holding everything Kushina asked for. Quickly rewriting the seals on the door to the study. Kushina, followed by Mito, start walking in and towards the desk, but stops in the middle of the room as a sudden sharp pain appears at the back of both their neck. Ignoring the pain, Kushina and Mito keep walking over to Minato's desk and sees a folder named Project Chakra. Opening the folder, Kushina reads details of the project. Project Chakra, created by Minato na Mikaze and Danzo Shimura and assisted by Orochimaru. This project was created for the purpose of creating the ultimate weapons for Konaha. Entry 1. I experiment on the use of bloodlines for the weapons. So far only one has survived and has gained the ability of Mokuden, which is a step in the right direction. Hopefully soon Konaha will have an army of bloodline users at its beck and call. Entry 5. We have concluded that bloodlines, though powerful, are very hard to integrate into the human body, as it is just rejected, resulting in the human death. So instead we have needed to use something far more powerful and easier to integrate with humans. The answer is simple: Jinchuriki. Entry 14. Entry 20. I have been stealing the chakra from the Jinchuriki for months now to test on to see the best ways to use it. Orochimaru has come up with several possibilities so far but nothing major at the moment. Entry 28. I have impregnated the Jinchuriki. This could be the breakthrough we have been waiting for. Will Saint giving birth the seal will weaken, giving us the chance to reseal the beast inside the child. From there we can train it to become Konaha's weapon. Entry 29. It was all going so well but my plans have failed. The Jinchuriki had twins, something I didn't foresee coming. This resulted in both children getting bits of the Kyuubi's chakra in them. Normally this would be a plus to have two children with I led beast chakra, but it isn't the chakra that should have gone to one was split weakening or weapon. This won't do. Entry 44. I have designed a seal that should take all of the beast's chakra and absorb it. Now all I need to do is wait for the right moment to use it. For the second time that day Kushina cried in sorrow. Seeing her mother start crying once again, Mito picks the dropped folder and reads it herself. Not a minute later joins her mother crying in pain, and of them notice the seal on the back of the folder start to glow. Calming herself down, Kushina looks at her crying daughter. Mito Chan, go and pack your things, we aren't staying her with that monster a second longer. Getting a nod from Mito, the two wiped their eyes and ran to their rooms to pack. Quickly packing their things, Ina and Mito walk out of the Namakazi door, never to return. With Minato 10 minutes earlier. Sitting in the Hokage office was Minato, who had just sent off a squad of Anbu to track down his wayward son. Quote, I know you're there, you can come out, sensei, said Minato, smiling slightly as he saw his sensei step out of the shadows. I see your time as Hokage hasn't dulled your senses like my old rival Hiruzen. Raised Danzo with a slight smirk, looking at his best student. Taking a seat across from Minato, Danzo gained a serious look. Is it true that your son has left the village? Don't call the thing my son. But yes, it is true, he has run away, but I have sent a squad of Anbu to retrieve him, answered Minato, causing Danzo to sigh in annoyance and frustration. I will never understand your hate for your son. But never mind that, I will send out 2 squads of root Anbu to help with the search. Have you finished the seal? Asked Danzo, getting a nod from Minato. Good, if he is found by my root Anbu, then I'll have him taken to one of the underground bases for safekeeping until we can proceed with the plan. Agreed, send me a message. We shit, the alarm on Project Chakra just went off, I have to go. Disap. Pairing in a yellow flash, leaving a worried Danzo. Namakazi Manor. Appearing in outside his home, Minato sprints inside his office only to see it empty, with the Project Chakra folder on the ground and covered with tear stains. In this situation, Minato could only say one thing. Shit. With Kushina and Mito. Ka-chan, where are we going to go now? Asked Mito. Since I am still a registered kunoichi, we can't leave the village, so we will be staying with my friend Makoto. Yay, I haven't seen Auntie Miko in ages, exclaimed Mito, excited she could see her favorite auntie after so long. Walking down the dark streets of Konaha, drawing weird looks from passers-by who wondered why the Hokage's wife and child would be walking this late at night with suitcases. Ignoring the looks they were getting, the 2 redheads made it to the Uchiha compound and knocked on the clan head's home. As the door opened, Kushina and Mito smiled, seeing Sayuri standing there. Hey Sayuri-chan, remember me? Said Kushina, confusing Sayuri. Hey, Ka-chan, there are 2 tomato heads at the door, yelled Sayuri, not seeing the 2 redheads' eyes twitch in annoyance at being called a tomato. Hearing her daughter shout, Makoto walked to the door to greet her longtime friend. Hey Kushina, what are you doing here at this time? Did you get into a fight with Minato? Asked Makoto. Can we put these 2 to bed, then I will explain. Getting a nod, the 2 kunoichis took the girls into Sayuri's room to sleep. Walking back into the sitting room, Makoto looks at Kushina with a serious look. Okay Kushina, what happened? With that, Kushina started to explain what had happened and what she had discovered. By the end of the story, Makoto was livid. That bastard! Yelled Makoto. So is it okay to stay here for a bit, just until I buy an apartment for me and Mito? Of course, it's okay for you to stay, and you can forget an apartment, you can have one of the houses here in the compound. Thank you, but I don't think Fugaku will like that very much, said Kushina, causing Makoto to laugh. Don't worry about him, he won't do a thing, trust me. Seeing the sweet smile on Makoto's face, Kushina just nodded. Good, now it's time for you to get some SL. Eat, you have had a long and stressful day. agree with her friend. The two headed off to sleep. As Kushina tried to fall asleep, she couldn't take her mind off of Naruto and how badly she had failed him. "I'm sorry Naruto, wherever you are, I hope you're happy," whispered Kushina before falling to sleep. "So what do you think? With Naruto's eyes, think of Sub-Zero's. The white of his eyes is blue. I will TNK of different ways to improve on the techniques, since most are easy to predict or counter if faced with multiple enemies. For example, to Tombstone Teleport will work a bit like Haku's ice mirrors. And no, I didn't forget for Kushina to look for a seal on her. She won't need to, as she had Makoto with her, so if Minato tries anything he will have to face both of them." Shiver in fear. Also, did anyone else find it weird that no one else in Konaha noticed their Jinchuriki, not to mention a clan heir, go missing? Anyway, nothing else to say, so peace out. Yo everyone. Some people asked about pairings and will Kushina be in it? The answer is I don't know. I will put a poll up later during the story to see who it will be. But suggestions would be nice. My personal favorites are Anko, Kushina, Makoto and Konan. Also, some said they don't like evil Minato as it's not believable. All I'm going to say is that this is fan fiction. I mean, I have read stories about Naruto getting turned into a predator. If one can write that, then I can write about this. Also, the graduation age is 15 to 16, not 12, cause I found it stupid that they send 12-year-olds to fight grown adults with barely any training. This doesn't include Naruto in this story because he has been trained to fight privately for years, not learning things that are useless like the academy teach. Anyway, on with the story. Jinsei 5 years later, Naruto age 11. It was an early morning in the village of Konaha, but down deep below a young Lin Kuei student was practicing with his sensei. "Very good Naruto, you have almost mastered the dragon style. All you need is more experience using it," praised Kuei looking at his now 11-year-old apprentice. "It's all thanks to you, sensei," replied Naruto with a bow. The past 5 years of training had been great for Naruto. He had changed a lot over the years. He had grown to a nice 5 feet 6. His hair was still the same color, but it had grown into a shaggy look with some bangs covering his eyes, Ichigo Dongai, and his face had become more angular with the loss of his baby fat. Basically, he looked like a young Minato but with blue and white hair, paler skin. Since his old clothes not longer fit Naruto now, a pair of black steel-toed combat boots with black combat trousers with an ice blue belt with the Lin Kuei symbol on. He wore a tight sleeveless black shirt showing off his defined muscle. Over is an ice blue short-sleeved trench coat, and as tradition he wore the Lin Kuei mask. True, but without your natural skill and your determination it would have taken much longer to teach you. But enig of that, let you see your progress in your ice manipulation. Show me your weapons of choice. Following his sensei's command, Naruto holds his hands out and forms 2 kamas made of pure ice with jagged edges. After forming the kamas, he starts going through his kata for them, called the dragon's talons. Finishing his kata, he releases his weapons, making them shatter on the ground. "Good, very good. I'll show me your other weapon," ordered Kuai. Bowing to his sensei, Naruto holds his hands together and forms a Muramasa katana that was a bit longer than normal. Going through his kata for his sword called the Dragon's Fang. Finishing his kata, Naruto drops the weapon, shattering it, and turns to bow at his now clapping sensei. Very impressive. To learn 2 of the Lin Kuei's most difficult weapon styles is no easy feat. Yet you, my student, have done it, and I couldn't be prouder, said Kuei with pride evident in his voice. Thank you, sensei. Will that be all for today? Yes, I know about you. Progress and the Lin Kuei ice style moves, but before I can teach you further you must do something. Give me your order, sensei, and I swear on my honor it will be done. Don't be too hasty, me student. You should hear the mission before accepting. But since you are so eager, your mission is to kill every bandit at a small camp located east of here. I believe it is near a small country called the Land of Waves. Nishid Kuei, looking at the shocked face of his student. But sensei, I've never killed before, said Naruto looking to the ground. I don't think I can kill in cold blood, he muttered, sounding sad that he would disappoint his teacher. Looking at his student, Kuei couldn't help but think this is what his father must have had to do when training him and his brother. Naruto, you are ready for this. I know you are. I agree, killing in cold blood is wrong, but killing to protect those weaker than you is something that I believe in, and I hope you learn to as well, said Kuei, looking as Naruto kept his head down, think on his words. Naruto thought of his sensei's words over and over again in his head. No one ever looked out for me, so maybe if I look out for those weaker than me I can stop people having to go through the same things I did. With that thought in mind, Naruto looked up to his sensei with fire in his eyes. If I can help people like you helped me, then I will, even if I have to kill, exclaimed Naruto with determination. Good, go and gather all that you think you require, then we shall both go so I can watch you fight, said Kuay, making Naruto run up and gather his supplies. I hope I'm making the right choice. But with the world like it is, then the kids in school must be doing something similar, Kuay said to himself, not knowing how wrong he was. Uchiha compound. Mito, you are going to be late to the academy if you don't get up, shouted Kushina. The past 5 years have been kind to Kushina. She still looked like she was in her 20s even if she was nearly 40. Coming, Ka-chan, shouted Mito from upstairs. Mito had grown to become a clone of her mother in the past 5 years, but still had some of her father's features, like her blue eyes and some blonde highlights in her long red hair. Shouting goodbye to her mother, Mito runs towards the compound gates only to see Sayuri standing there with an annoyed look on her face. And what took you so long? Asked Sayuri with a, you better have a good explanation, look, causing Mito to sweat a little at her friend's stare. You see, on the walk here I saw this old lady who had dropped her shopping, and being the good citizen I am, I decided to help her, but it turns out she was an enemy ninja and she took my wallet, so I had to track her down and fight for it, which took a while, lied Mito, not noticing the tick mark on Sayuri's head get bigger and bigger with each passing second. That's bullshit, exclaimed Sayuri. Kami, you need to stop talking to Kakashi-san, you're starting to act like him. Next thing you know you'll be reading those orange books, said Sayuri with a small smirk at seeing Mito's face go pale at the very thought. That will never happen, not now, not ever, denied Mito. Kami knows what her mother would do to her if she started reading those books. Anyway, we are going to be late if we don't hurry up, said Sayuri, who started walking away, leaving Mito behind. Hey, wait up, shouted Mito as she ran after her best friend. Academy. Arriving with a minute to spare, Mito and Sayuri take their seats next to Hinata. Morning, Hinata-chan, greeted Mito with a smile whilst Sayuri gave a small nod. Morning, Mito-chan, Sayuri-chan. Are you both ready to practice the Henjutsu today? Asked Hinata. You bet I am, I finally have it down to 2-hand seals, boasted Mito with a grin on her face only for it to felt. When she saw the 2 deadpan looks her friends were giving her. It has taken you this long to get that far, even Shikamaru can do it with 1-hand seal and he is the laziest bastard I know, said Sayuri, making Mito depressed. It's not my fault, I have massive chakra reserves and very little control, muttered Mito, making her friends snicker at her. Still depressed about her lack of progress, Mito takes her seat just as their sensei Iruka walks in. Good morning, class. Today we will be going over our Henjutsu, so form a line and get ready to perform it. As the class lined up, Mito slowly walked down the stairs before taking her place in the line. Why do I have to do this? I would rather be doing something cool, thought Mito. With Naruto and Kuay above in the trees overlooking the bandit camp, Kuay looks over to his nerve student. Naruto, from now on this is your mission, so make your plan, said Kuay, making Naruto close his eyes and open his senses. There are 26 bandits, 14 are asleep and 1 ninja. But the level of chakra I'm sensing is barely over Chunin. 4 civilian women and a child that I sense are afraid but unharmed, said Naruto, holding in his anger at mentioning the civilians. Your sensing skills have improved. Now that you have this information, use it to your advantage and eliminate the threats, said Kuay, getting a nod from Naruto as he jumped from the tree and into the camp. Landing behind one of the larger tents, Naruto sneaks inside to find 2 passed out bandits. Stealing his nerves, Naruto creates a kunai out of ice and slits their throats, killing them silently. Fighting. The urge to puke, Naruto heads out of the tent and hides in the shadows of another tent and repeats the process until only the bandits that are awake and the ninja is left. Leaving the shadows of the tents, Naruto sneaks behind the guards of the prisoners and jams a kunai each into their temples, killing them instantly. Walking over to the terrified prisoners, Naruto puts a finger over his maw's face where his mouth would be, telling them to be silent. Shish, I'm here to help. I'm going to untie you, but I need you to stay here until I have finished clearing out the rest of the bandits, okay? Seeing them nod, Naruto creates a kunai and cuts the ropes that bound them. Okay, stay silent, I'll be back. About to walk out, Naruto felt a small tug on his shirt and sees the only child of the group holding it. Yes? Asked Naruto. Can you please save my Ka-chan? The man with a headband took her, said the small boy with tears in his eyes. Nodding his head, Naruto headed straight towards the Big's tent in the camp, most likely belonging to the only ninja of the group. Reaching the tent in record time whilst taking care of the renaming bandits, Naruto lifted a corner of it and snuck inside, but what he saw made him see red with rage. The unknown ninja was ripping the clothes off of the poor women whilst smiling. Creating his ice katana, Naruto walks out into the open and glares at the man. Stop, you animal, you won't harm her any longer, said Naruto, making the man turn around to look Omen at the same time. Who are you, Gaki, and what are you doing here? Demanded the man with a sneer. I'm here to save the captives. As for who I am, that's simple, I'm your executioner, said Naruto as he charged with his ice katana. Smirking at Naruto, the man brought out a kunai and blocked the strike. Aha, that a good one, Gaki, my executioner. Well, you better know my name then. It's Kaimuta Toshi X Chunin of Kiri, said the now named Toshi, sending a kick to Naruto's chest, who dodged it easily. Quote, your katana is made of ice, you're one of those bloodline freaks that the Mizukage is trying to kill. Maybe if I deliver your corpse he will let me return. Throwing his kunai at Naruto, Toshi began King hand seals, water chains jutsu, shout Toshi, sending multiple chains of water at Naruto, not seeing the smirk on his opponent's face due to the mask he wore. I'm the worst opponent you could have picked, and this is why. Ice ball, yelled Naruto, sending a ball of ice towards Toshi, who didn't bother dodging and used his chains to stop it from hitting him, but went wide-eyed as the ball froze his chains and shattering them. Carried on, hitting his chest, freezing him instantly. Seeing his enemy frozen but alive, Naruto walked over to the ice statue and sliced it in two, making both parts shatter. He deserved worse, said Naruto. Looking over to the ex-captive who was covering herself with her hands, Naruto sees the fear in her eyes and chooses to keep his distance, trying to make her more comfortable. Miss, you're safe now. Your son is waiting for you with the other villagers, said Naruto. With those words, Naruto saw the fear in her eyes be replaced by relief. Thank Kami, Inari is safe. What about the rest, are they all okay? Asked the women. They are fine, a bit shaken up but fine. If it is okay with you, I will escort you to them and be on my way, said Naruto. Seeing the women nod, walks over to the women and passes her the sheet from the bed, allowing her to cover her body. Thank you for saving us. My name is Tsunami. What can I call you? Asked the now named Tsunami. Naruto, my name is Naruto. Walking in silence to the other ex-prisoners, Tsunami was suddenly pounced on by a crying Inari. Ka-chan, you're back, you're really back. Please don't leave again, cried Inari as he clung to Tsunami, who smiled at her son and began calming him down. Not seeing a reason for him to stay, Naruto began his walk towards the camp gate but was stopped by the sounds of shouts and footsteps. Naruto, wait, shouted Tsunami as she and the others ran towards him. Yes, asked a confused Naruto, to sure what else they wanted from him. Thank for saving us, how can we repay you? Asked Tsunami. I don't want anything, said Naruto as he began walking away again, leaving a shocked group expecting him to want something for saving them. Kuay's location. Arriving at the meeting point, Naruto's his sensei sitting on a rock waiting for him. I see you have finished it quite quickly. Well done, from now on your training becomes harsher, are you ready? Asked Kuay. Yes, sensei, said Naruto with a bow. Good, from now we won't return to the Jinsei chamber. I want you to get used to this world, so we shall travel and train. I have already prepared everything for your training, so our first stop will be Snow Country for you to learn more advanced ice manipulation and maybe create some new techniques. Nodding to his sensei, the two traveled back towards the boat they used to get to Wave and set off for Snow Country. Well, what do you think? I know the fight was a bit short, but the ninja was barely Chunin level and ice beats water. My challenge. I have a challenge to whoever wants to take it. One Piece. Luffy, Robin. Before the crew get to Archipelago Sabayati, Luffy and Robin get together and become heartbroken when they get separated by Kuma, knowing they can't see each other before the 2 years are up. They train to get stronger for one another. After the crew meet up again, Luffy and Robin reunite and are stronger than ever. The rest follows canon, but however you want to change it. Luffy Yonko level, Robin Warlord level. If anyone wants to take the challenge, message me. Anyway, that's it for now, so bye bye. Yo everyone. Just going to answer a few reviews here. Guessed, you know who. You're calling me an idiot for spelling a made up word wrong. If you look, the spelling is only wrong for a few since it was auto-corrected. Guessed, again, you know who you are. You got very defensive at the incest thing. Do you have feelings for siblings, parents, and are denying it cause that's what it seems like? Well, that's the reviews. The last chapter was just to give you a small view on how differently Naruto will be trained compared to others his age, like him having to kill just to carry on his training, not learning history. On with the story. High in the mountains of snow, Count R.Y was a tombstone with a statue made of solid ice shaped like the Lin Kuei symbol. Sitting in front of the tombstone was Naruto, who had changed from a young boy to a warrior. Standing at an impressive 5 feet 11, Naruto had lost what remained of his baby fat, leaving him with a chiseled and handsome face. The only imperfection he had was a thin scar that went from the top of his eyebrow to the top of his cheek. Over the years, his clothes hadn't changed much. He still wore black combat and trousers along with a tight black shirt. Over this, he wore his ice blue trench coat but with an added hood and the sleeves ripped off. To complete his outfit, he wore the traditional Lin Kuei mask. It has been a year since you died, Master. I know you said it was because you were away from the Jinsei, but I can't help but think your death is my fault. If I hadn't found you, then you would still be alive, muttered Naruto, looking at the words that were chiseled into the stone. Here lies Kuei Liang, master of the Lin Kuei, teacher. Father figure. I wish you could be here to see me re-establish the Lin Kuei, but I can take solace in knowing you're watching over me. Standing up and giving a quick bow, Naruto started walking away from the grave and heading down the mountain and towards the small village at the bottom named Tsukoshi Yuki, Little Snow. As Naruto got closer to the small town, he pulled up his hood, hiding his face from view, no wanting to be recognized by anyone that might be looking for him. Walking through the village and towards the gate, Naruto drew curious looks from the people of the town, since it was as rare anyone to travel to the small village. Ignoring the looks he was getting, Naruto kept a normal pace and continued towards the village gates, but when he arrived he was greeted by 30 samurais. Subzero-sama, please come back to the capital. The daimyo would like to see you, said samurai in charge of the mission. Ignoring the samurai, Naruto keeps on walking out the gate but suddenly had to dodge a wave of chakra. Turning to where the wave came from, Naruto sees all of the samurai holding their swords. I'm sorry, Subzero-sama, but the daimyo has ordered us to bring you in, and that is what we shall do, shouted the leader of the samurai as he and the others charged at the annoyed Naruto. Not wanting to waste his time fighting them, Naruto folds his arms and falls backward, disappearing into the ice. Damn it, he got away again. Who is going to tell Koyuki Hime that we didn't catch him? Cause I told her last time, said the now scared samurai leader, causing everyone to point towards the newest samurai off the group. He can do it, shouted the group, causing the villagers watching to sweat drop at seeing a powerful samurai crying in fear at what their daimyo will do to him. With Naruto having escaped his pursuers, Naruto headed towards the coast, to take his ship towards the land of waves to restock, and then the land of water where he would track down his target. Over the last year, Naruto had made a name for himself across the element nations by becoming a bounty hunter under the name Subzero in honor of his master, but with reputation comes notoriety, as after he defeated a NA rank missing nin, he was placed in the bingo books as an A-RH out in affiliation to a hidden village. Fortunately for Naruto, they had next to no information about him other than his cover name and a picture of him with his hood up. Other than bounty hunting, Naruto did the occasional mission if the pay was good enough. One of his best clients was Iwa, since it was low on shinobi for the last great war, and another was Kiri. With their low numbers after the civil war, they offered many jobs to him. Something he was thankful for. That and he found Kurosaki and Meikute didn't hurt. Reaching the Koas, Naruto climbs aboard his small sailing boat and heads towards Wave for the first time in 5 years. Konaha, same time. In the past 5 years, Konaha had changed, with many things happening, but one of the most devastating was the Uchiha massacre. Nearly every Uchiha apart from the children, a few civilians, and Makoto had been killed by Amiko, Uchiha daughter of Makoto and Anbu captain, now S rank missing nin. Team 7, which consisted of Kakashi, Hatake, Mito Uzumaki, Sayuri Uchiha and Kiba Inuzuka were ready to blow a gasket from the amount of D-rank missions they had to do, namely catching the devil cat Tori. Over the last 5 years, Mito had grown from a young girl to young woman that looked and acted identically to her mother, long red hair, porcelain white skin and a beautiful face and figure that made me drool. Sayuri had become a carbon copy of her mother Makoto, something that men in Konaha were grateful for. She had long black, blue hair, soft white skin and a beautiful face and body. Iba looked like a typical Inuzuka, wild spiky brown hair, red fangs on both cheeks and a coat with fur around the collar. Right now Team 7 stood in front of Minato Namakazi, the Yondaime Hokage and ex-husband to Kushina Uzumaki. Mission accomplished, sensei, said Kakashi was not looking up from his book, much to Minato's annoyance. Very well, would you like another mission? We have many D-rank ones to complete, asked Minato. Seeing his student ready to shout, Kakashi spoke first. Actually sensei, I think they are ready for a C-rank mission, said Kakashi using his patented eye smile. Very well Kakashi, send in Tazuna, ordered Minato, and without a second delay an Anbu walked in with an old man wearing a straw hat and drink from a jug. I'm the super bridge builder Tazuna and I wanted super protection. How are these kids going to protect me? The redhead one looks like a tomato, the gloomy girl looks like she'll cut herself more than the enemy, and that kid has a dog. What's that gonna do? Piss on the bandits. At the end of Tazuna's rant, the 3 genins had to be held back from beating the man black and blue by Kakashi and the Anbu. Don't worry sir, I'm an experienced jonin, I can handle a couple of bandits, said Kakashi, still holding Mito and Sayuri back from beating the old man. After discussing the time they would meet at the gate, Team 7 went to their homes to prepare for the mission. Uzumaki home. Getting to her home, Mito runs into the kitchen to see her mother wearing her jonin uniform and her hair in a ponytail. Ka-chan, I finally got a C-rank mission. No, I can help you, Lu. K for Ni-chan, exclaimed Mito happily as she hugged her mother. Over the past 11 years, Kushina had been looking for signs of Naruto on every mission she took. She had even asked Jiraiya to help her look, but with no success. A day didn't go by when Kushina didn't cry at the loss of her son, not that she had the right to call him that. That's great Mito-chan, what's the mission? Asked Kushina, hoping it was nothing too dangerous for her daughter. Just guarding some drunk bridge builder that lives in Wave. I wanted to guard a prince, but no, instead I get an old drunk. Exclaimed Mito, making Kushina chuckle at her daughter. After talking to her mother a bit longer, Mito packs her equipment and heads out the door, not seeing the worried look that was on Kushina's face. Konaha gate. So emo, when is you teacher and the tomato girl getting here? Asked Tazuna, either not noticing or plain not caring at the glare Sayuri was giving him. Kakashi sensei is normally late and I wouldn't be surprised if Mito stopped off for ramen on the way here, said Sayuri, not sensing the person behind her. That hurts, you know, Sayuri-chan. Do you think that badly of your sensei? Asked Kakashi, making Sayuri jump in fright. Glaring at her laughing sensei and teammate, Sayuri tried to get her breathing back under control. 5 minutes later, Mito came running along with a smile on her face but dropped it. She saw the pissed off look on her teammates' faces. Sorry I'm late, my Ka-chan had to talk to me about something important, said Mito, making her teammates facepalm and Kakashi to chuckle. Am I? To-chan, you still have noodles round your mouth, said Kakashi, causing Mito's face to match her hair in embarrassment. Quickly wiping the noodles from her face, Mito gets into formation around Tazuna and they begin their journey to Wave. Walking down the dirt path towards Wave, Kiba got bored of the silence and decided to ask Tazuna some questions. Hey, Tazuna-san, doesn't Wave have its own ninja? Asked Kiba, getting Tazuna to shake his head as no. Nope, we have a few samurai but that's it. Because of that we have lots of trouble with bandits, people being taken or just killed because they felt like it. I almost lost my daughter 5 years ago because of the bandit problem, answered Tazuna, still terrified of that fact he could have lost his daughter. Tazuna-san, you said almost. How did your daughter escape? Asked a no curious Sayuri, with Mito, Kiba, Kakashi, who was secretly listening by pretending to read his book. I don't know all the details, but Tsunami, my daughter, and her son Inari along with some other women were taken to a large bandit camp, but not even an hour after they were taken the group walked back into the village speaking about a boy, answered Tazuna, making them all curious as to who this boy was. So old man, who was the boy your daughter was talking about? Asked Mito, making a tick mark form on his forehead. She said she never got his name, but she said He had white and blue hair with white pale skin with a chiseled face, and as she put it, the bluest eyes that you could look into forever, answered Tazuna, a little annoyed at how his daughter described the boy. He and the two other males missed the small tinge of pink on Sayuri and Mito's faces. As they continued to walk, they passed to puddles of water, something that Kakashi noticed shouldn't be there. But a second too late, as men jumped out of them with chains that tangled Kakashi, shredding him to bits, terrifying the genin. Tazuna. One down, said one of the ninjas. 4 left to go, said the other as they both charged the scared genin. Snapping out of her fear, Mito pulls out a kunai and blocks the metal claw that was aimed for her head, but never saw the second coming and shut her eyes. But here's a familiar voice. Fireball jutsu, shouted Sayuri, sending a massive ball of fire towards the ninja, making them curse as they were forced to dodge. Better than I thought you would be, but yo, you were no match for us, shouted the two together as they threw their chains at Tazuna, but was stopped when 3 kunai lodged the chain into a tree. No more chains for you bastards, let's get Makamaru. Fang passing Fang, yelled Kiba, heading straight towards the two nin, forcing them to dodge them all, making them forget about the other two until they heard something familiar. Fireball jutsu, shouted Sayuri, taking them by surprise and hitting them dead on, resulting in screams of pain from the two as their flesh burned, killing them. All 4 watched as the 2 ninjas were burned alive in the fiery inferno, not able to take their eyes away until the smell hit their noses, making them puke on the spot. Still puking their guts up, Kakashi walks out from behind a tree, shocking them all. Sensei, you're still alive, exclaimed Mito, Kiba, and Sayuri. Yep, and I'm very proud of how you 3 performed today, said Kakashi, pleased with the way that his team fought against thief, killed hundreds. It is a ninja's job to kill, stated Kakashi, trying to make her see why she had to do it. Nodding her head to her sensei, Sayuri walks away from her team to think about what had happened, leaving Kakashi to ask Tazuna some questions. So Tazuna, what is really happening at Wave? Asked Kakashi, making Tazuna lower his head and tell them what is going on. Well, that's it for now. I will warn you all now, I can't write fight scenes to save my life. Nothing else to say apart from the parring pick will be from Kurosaki, Anko, Mei, Sayuri, Kushina, Mito, Koyuki, Samui or a harem. Oh, and the summons have already been picked. Have fun guessing. Bye bye for now. Yo everyone. Lots of people reviewed saying that they wanted this a harem. I don't mind this, but others will, so I'll leave it to you. I shall put a poll up saying would you prefer a harem or not. So make sure you vote, cause if you don't and then complain about not getting your way, then your complaints will be ignored. If it is a harem, Kuritsuchi and Samui will be in it, and maybe Anko. The rest will be up to you if the story does go down the harem route. Also, for the summons, if you have played Mortal Kombat X and completed a tower as Subzero you will know what it is, and if you haven't, then you get a nice surprise. One more thing, I really can't write fight scenes. Is not that I can't think of one, it's just I don't know how to write it. Oh, sorry in advance for the crappy fights. Well, on with the story. Why? Thinking. Normal talking. Demon. Jutsu. After hearing Tazuna's sob story about Nami no Kunai, Team 7 decided to continue on with the mission to Wave. Walking down the road in silence, Mito decided to end the silence. So Tazuna, your daughter said a boy younger than us saved her. Did she say how? Asked Mito, wanting to know how a boy younger than her could kill so many bandits. Well, she never went into detail. Not that I can blame her. All she said was that he shattered the one that tried to harm her, answered Tazuna, confusing. The man himself is too. How he shattered a man? Perhaps it's a new bloodline or even a personal jutsu, suggested Kakashi, thinking over the possible solutions, since in his time as a shinobi he had ever heard of anyone being able to shatter someone before. As they continued their journey, they eventually reached the shore, where they looked for a boat to take them across the sea. After several people denying passage across the water, they finally found an old man willing to take them to Nami no Kunai. Unfortunately, they would be stuck on the small boat for hours. Mito, and, if they were honest, the other two, couldn't take much more of it. This boat is driving me crazy, Mito finally yelled, getting nods of agreement from her teammates. Mito, stop yelling. Kakashi looked up from his orange book. We need to stay quiet. And your yelling can probably be heard a mile away, besides he will probably reach land soon. Kakashi was right, for out of the mist appeared a structure of stone, stretching most of the water. Is that the bridge? Asked Kiba, never seeing a bridge that large. Yep. Tazuna replied, staring at his bridge with pride. We are almost there, said Tazuna, making the three genins silently thanked Kami since they were sick of being on the boat. The remainder of the trip was spent in silence. Eventually, though, they reached the shore, where the man with the boat wished them well and left back across the water. Once again they had a fairly uneventful trip through the forest until suddenly Kakashi heard an odd whistling sound. Duck! Yelled Kakashi, pushing Tazuna to the ground, whilst a ridiculously large sword went over their heads and embedded itself into a tree. What the hell was that? Yelled Mito from her position on the floor. She saw the large SWO road stuck in a tree above their heads. Oh. The Kubikiraboucho, Kakashi said, looking at the sword embedded in the tree. That means, Momochi Zabuza, at your service, a man said, jumping onto the sword embedded in the tree before bowing sarcastically. He was pale, with short spiky black hair, and the lower half of his face was covered with bandages. He also wore a Kiri Hitai sideways on his head. But instead of the normal symbol, his was scratched through, marking him as a nuke nin. Momochi Zabuza, demon of the hidden mist, Kakashi said. I guessed so, given the demon brothers earlier. You're here for Tazuna, aren't you? Quote, good guess, Sharingan no Kakashi. Zabuza replied. So, you going to hand him over the easy way? Guys, get back, Kakashi said. This guy's on a whole new level compared to the rest. Against him, even I'll admit it'll be a little tough, without this. After saying that, he pulled up his Hitai, revealing his other eye, but this one was red with a black three-tone design. Using your Sharingan already, I'm honored. Ka-san said that Sensei had the Sharingan, thought Sayuri, but this is the first time I have ever seen him use it. Surround and protect Tazuna, said Kakashi to his team. Hurry up, I want to kill the old man and get this over with. Zabuza said, but copycat, it seems I'll have to kill you first, nay. Zabuza jumped over onto the water near them, standing on it. Sweden. Kurigakur no Jutsu, Zabuza whispered, disappearing in a rapidly thickening mist growing from the water. Damn, how'd he know? Kakashi said. The Sharingan can't see through this mist. 8 killing points, said Zabuza from somewhere in the mist. Liver, lungs, kidney, brain, spine, clavicle vein, larynx, and heart. Which one should I choose? Ha, it's gonna take more than that to scare us, yelled Kiba. Oh, the Gaki has a pair, let's see what I can do about that. Suddenly, the air was filled with killing intent, making Kiba and the others freeze in fear. What is this, thought Kiba as he shook in fear. Beside him, Sayuri was nearly as affected. This is the killing intent of a Jonin. She, though, sensing the ever-growing Ki in the air. This is insane. I can't take this. I'd rather die now. Nearly against her will, her hand began raising a kunai to her neck. Beside her, Mito, who seemed relatively unaffected by the amount of ki the two Jonin were emitting, saw her. What are you doing? She yelled, shoving Sayuri's arm down. You're trying to kill yourself. I knew you were emo. Thanks, said Sayuri, eyeing her arm suspiciously. I don't know what I was doing. Don't worry, Sayuri, Kakashi said. I won't let my comrades die. Oh, Zabuza said from the mist. We'll see about that. Suddenly, he appeared out of the mist, running towards Team 7's students, who were grouped around Tazuna. With Kiba frozen in fear and Sayuri still slightly trying to fight off her own arm, Mito was left to try to defend them. She defensively grabbed a kunai, standing in front of Tazuna, and growled at Zabuza. Zabuza never made it, though. Instead, midway through, he was tackled by Kakashi. Nice try, said Kakashi, but it'll take more than that to threaten my students in charge. Zabuza sprang up, pushing Kakashi off him. They both stood in front of each other, neither so much as twitching. Suddenly, Zabuza rushed towards Kakashi, but instead of directly attacking, jumped over him in a flip, bringing the sword down on him in midair. To his surprise, Kakashi was unable to retaliate in time, resulting in Zabuza slicing him across the head. However, instead of blood rushing out, Kakashi simply dissolved into water. Mizu Bunshin, Zabuza thought, watching Kakashi dissolve into a puddle. But there's no way he could have copied my techniques in the mist. Oh, that was certainly impressive, Kakashi, Zabuza said. You had your clone distract me while you were actually hidden in the mist around me, observing. Oh, so you've figured it out, have you? Kakashi said, walking towards Zabuza. Too bad, I was going to use a great strategy against you, but obviously, you have everything figured out, don't you? Zabuza, instead of attacking Kakashi, simply ran into the forest. Sensei, I can smell he has several clones spread around to confuse you, but TNT of you, yelled Kiba to Kakashi. Thanks, Kiba, Kakashi said. So, an Inuzuka, the real Zabuza said, walking towards Kakashi. Should have no since he has a dog with him. Well, I guess I can't just clone spam you, can I? Nope. Kakashi answered, giving him an eye smile. Guess not. Well, I guess it doesn't matter, either way, does it? Zabuza said. Because I don't need clones to win this. With that, Zabuza disappeared in a burst of speed, reappearing behind Kakashi, who turned to deflect his sword with a kunai. They locked blades for a half-second before Kakashi ducked beneath his, aiming to thrust the kunai into Zabuza's stomach. Instead, Zabuza quickly brought his knee up to connect with Kakashi's head, before flipping back out of range. They both engaged in a standoff, circling each other, Kakashi holding his kunai, Zabuza with his sword. Suddenly, Zabuza again rushed towards Kakashi, who barely deflected the sword again, forcing it to pass millimeters above his head. He was unable, however, to block the sword coming back, resulting in its passing through his body, before once again dissolving into water. Damn it! Zabuza cursed, before listening for the copy ninja to attack. After a few seconds of waiting, he did indeed attack, jumping through the air to try to attack Zabuza from above. Zabuza brought his sword above his body, attempting to slice Kakashi as he came down above him, but Kakashi twisted violently to the side, angling his fall away from Zabuza. Once he reached the ground, he brought his kunai down towards the back of Zabuza's neck, before Zabuza twisted around to deflect Kakashi's hand with the back of his arm. Without waiting, Kakashi brought a kunai up with his other hand, which Zabuza was unable to avoid entirely, resulting in a long, but shallow, gash across the front of his chest. You'll pay for that, Scarecrow, Zabuza said, bringing the sword down towards Kakashi, who barely managed to duck underneath it to headbutt Zabuza in the chest. Zabuza was lifted bodily by the simple attack, before flying back several feet. He returned to his feet just in time to deflect another kunai from Kakashi, bringing his sword up towards Kakashi's chest. Kakashi jumped above the swing of Kubikiraboucho, before bringing another kunai down towards Zabuza, who ducked away from Kakashi, bringing his sword up to prevent Kakashi from following. Zabuza once again moved towards Kakashi, holding his sword beside him as if to bring his sword up in a diagonal swing. Instead, he used his sword as a counterweight, bringing his leg up to kick Kakashi in the side of the head, sending him flying. Kakashi landed in the water, swimming below to retreat before attacking again. Wrong move, Scarecrow, Zabuza said, walking over to the water. Sweden. Suoro no Jutsu, he said, bringing part of the water and Kakashi up into a sphere. No, I can't do anything from in here, Kakashi thought. Hey, makes it a little tougher when you can't move, doesn't it? Zabuza taunted. Oh well, I'll take care of you later. Mizu Bunshin no Jutsu, he yelled, forming a clone to attack Team 7. You're not the only one who can make clones, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, yelled Mito, forming 10 clones, which formed a line between Team 7 and Zabuza. The clones all growled aggressively at Zabuza, holding kunais in defensive positions. The Zabuza clone said, looking at the clones. That's pretty neat, for a kid like you to be able to create shadow clones. You're something else, most jonin couldn't create 10. But you're still going to lose, do you know why? No, Mito answered, I'm not going to lose. Yes you are, you're weak. Zabuza taunted. All of you have been coddled, treated like kids, instead of the killers that you should be. What? Mito said, that's not true. Oh, Zabuza taunted. By the time I graduated, my hands were already stained with blood. And not only me, do you know how? Shinobi in Kuritsuchi graduated. No, Mito answered. But what does that have to do with anything? For any students to graduate in Kiri, Zabuza said. You had to fight another student of your class, to the death. That's sick, why would they do that? Yelled Mito. To make sure a shinobi are proper shinobi. That will kill without caring. But to kill your friends to become a ninja, that awful. I never went through with it, said Zabuza, making Kiba laugh in the background. Oh, said Kiba, but you're telling me you had your hands bloodied by the time you graduated. I did, Zabuza said. But instead of being put in a one-on-one fight, I opted to kill everybody. That's right, a class of more than 100 students, Kakashi said. And you killed them all, in a single day. That earned him the moniker, Demon of the Hidden Mist. Not wanting to waste time, Zabuza's clone ran towards Mito's clone army, but, before the clone made it, it was frozen along with Mito's shadow clones. A thick cold mist gathered around the water. My I hoped my Tarj Chi would be easy to find, but to find not only Zabuza but Kakashi of the Sharingan, my luck is better than normal, said a male voice from inside the mist. As the mist cleared, a man standing there at an impressive 5 feet 11. Who wore black combat and trousers along with a tight black shirt. Over this, he wore his ice blue trench coat with a hood up, along with a face mask. Zabuza Momochi, the lovely Mizukage wants you back in Kiri, said the man, making Zabuza thrown. Forgetting about Team 7. What does that lunatic want with me? He's still pissed that I tried to kill him, said Zabuza discreetly. Say, Nding his hidden friend in case things went south. Ah yes, you don't know, there is a new Mizukage now since the rebels won the war. You know her, I believe. Does Mei Terumi ring any bells? Seriously, Mei is the Mizukage. I'm surprised that any men are still allowed in Kiri, said Zabuza, making the man chuckle. So will you and your friend come with me to Kiri? I need to get my money for your collection, asked the man. You must be important if Mei would entrust this job to you. So who are you? I go by the name Subzero, said the now named Subzero with a small bow. Well, what do you think? His chapter took me a while. I'm no good at writing fight scenes, so if it sucked, I'm sorry. Anyway, the poll will be put up soon. Bye bye. Yo everyone. The poll results so far. Yes 37.92%. Number 3 7%. Unique voters. 39. The poll hasn't finished yet, but, so far it is pretty obvious what is going to win. But just to make sure everyone gets their vote, I'll leave the poll up until the next chapter is up. Anyway, thank you for all of the nice reviews I have been getting. Nothing else to say, I think so. On with the story. Last time. Seriously, Mei is the Mizukage. I'm surprised that any men are still allowed in Kiri, said Zabuza, making the man chuckle. So will you and your friend come with me to Kiri? I need to get my money for your collection, asked the man. You must be important if Mei would entrust this job to you. So who are you? I go by the name Subzero, said the now named Subzero with a small bow. There was silence until Kiba barked out a laugh. Ha ha ha, what kind of stupid name is that? Denly. The water surrounding Subzero froze and the air got colder, sending shivers down everyone's spines. My name was given to me by my deceased master, who got it from his brother, said Subzero, called DL. Why, glaring at Kiba, making him whimper silently at how cold the glare was. Excuse my student Subzero-san, he didn't mean to insult you, right Kiba? Asked Kakashi with a look that said, apologize or else. Yeah, sorry Subzero-san, said Kiba, bowing slightly. The cold air disappeared. Good, if you hadn't apologized I would have impaled you on a spear of ice, said Subzero, making the Genins and Tazun turn pale, and for Zabuza to grin in respect. I like your style, kid. Maybe one day you could get as infamous as me, smirked Zabuza, liking this kid already. Sorry Zabuza, but I'm already in the bingo book as an A-rank Ronin, said Subzero, making the two Jonin wide-eyed and the Genin's jaws to drop. Your age, how can you already be that well known? Shouted Mito, making Subzero actually look at the rest of Kakashi's team for the first time. Looking over, he saw the spitting image of his mother, with some small differences. Not caring that his ex-sister was here. Subzero looked over too. The other member of the team and saw a raven-haired beauty that reminded him of someone but couldn't quite place who. Just look in the bingo book. I was placed there after I got attacked by a couple of A-rank ninja who thought that they could kill me. Idiots all of them, they barely put up a fight. All they were good for was a bit of money, and even that was barely worth it, said Subzero, making L. But Zabuza think the same thing. He's so cold. Ha ha ha. I like your style, kid, reminds me of me, laughed Zabuza, liking this kid more and more. Why thank you, Zabuza, but enough talking. If you see old, signal your companion, we will leave, said Naruto, making Zabuza sigh. Sorry kid, but I can go back. Not yet, at least. I need to finish this mission, and if you help me the quicker we get to go back to Kiri. Kakashi froze at that. There was no way he could take on 2 A-rank ninjas and defend his genin and the client. Cursing himself for not sending a summon for backup, Kakashi waited to see the events unfold, hoping that something whirled in their favor. Pretending to think it over for a moment, Subzero answered, Sorry Zabuza, but I have a couple of people in Wave that are acquaintances of mine, and it would be terrible of me to just let them die, said Subzero, making Kakashi, Tazuna and the genins release a breath they didn't know they were holding. And here I was starting to like you, brat. It looks like I have to kill you along with the rest. Point his sword at Subzero, who smirked, loving to fight a strong opponent. But suddenly 3 Senbon needles flew out of the forest straight into Zabuza's neck. About to fall to the floor, a person wearing a Kiri hunter nin mask appeared and slung Zabuza over their shoulder. Thank you, I have been tracking him for a while. Don't waste your breath. I know you're not a hunter nin, you're working with Zabuza. I'm here to retrieve you guys, remember, said Subzero, making the hunter nin blush underneath the mask. Not that you could see it. Without saying another word, the fake hunter nin disappeared in a swirl of snow, intriguing Subzero greatly. Perhaps the Lin Kui bloodline is not as dead as I once believed. So Subzero-san, you will be he. Was as far as Kakashi got before fainting most. What did you do to sensei? Yelled Mito. I have done nothing to Kakashi. He is suffering from a mild case chakra exhaustion, explained Subzero. TCH. Why should we believe you? Mito tried to argue with a blushing face as she knew she had embarrassed herself. Believe what you want, but, for now, grab your sensei and we will head towards Wave, or Dered Subzero with a voice that said, do what I say or I'll hurt you. Following his orders, though reluctantly, Mito creates a couple of shadow clones to carry Kakashi the rest of the way to Nami no Kuni. Nami no Kunai. After a long painful walk, Team 7, Tazuna and Subzero made it to Wave, but got some very strange looks walking to Tazuna's house, since it's not every day you see a group of 4 identical teens carrying an unconscious man. Ignoring the looks they got, the group reached Tazuna's house and knocked. Tsunami-chan, I'm home, shouted Tazuna. The next thing the ninjas knew, the door had been flung open and Tazuna pulled into a hug by someone Subzero recognized. Chu-san, I'm so glad you're back. Are you okay? Asked Tsunami, frantically looking over her father to see if he was injured. Stop fussing over me, I'm fine. Thanks to these as ninja here, especially the 2 in the masks, said Tazuna, making Tsunami look over to the unconscious Kakashi, giving him a worried look, turning to the there masked ninja. She gasps, recognizing the unique face mask. What's the matter, Tsunami-chan? Asked her father as he saw his daughter start to cry as she looked at the hooded masked ninja. Is that really you? Getting a small nod, Tsunami runs over and pulls him into a tight hug, shocking everyone else. What the hell? Exclaimed the genin and Tazuna, not knowing what was going on. Releasing him from the hug, Tsunami wiped her eyes. I still can't believe you're here. Inari will be thrilled, he's wanted to meet you again for ages now, said Tsunami as she pulled Subzero into the house, leaving the others dumbfounded at what had just happened. Deciding to follow the pair into the house, they see Tsunami drag Subzero towards the sofa and tell him to sit, which he did, but not before pulling his down, showing everyone his wild white, blue hair, surprising everyone but Tsunami at the color. It's been a while, huh, Tsunami? Said Subzero awkwardly, not knowing what to say to her. Is that all you can say after you left the way you did? Tsunami almost yelled, annoyed that was all he said after years of not seeing one another. What do you want me to say? I meet you one night and haven't seen you since, said Naruto. Making Tsunami blush at the way that sounded. The three genins had to restrain Tazuna from trying to beat the shit out of Subzero after what he just said. But you just left, all I got was a quick goodbye. The others were disappointed too. The three genins blushed at what they heard, but for Tazuna that was the boiling point, charging into the room dragging three genins behind he pointed at Subzero with fury in his eyes. What the hell did you do with my daughter? Huh, was all Subzero could say, not having a clue what the old man was talking about. Chiou-san, it's nothing like that, yelled a blushing Tsunami. Bullshit. Who, do you two know each other? What are you, secret lover? And what was that you said about the others? Does that mean he has more women other than you? What happened to my sweet, innocent daughter? Yelled Tazuna, making Tsunami blush reach atomic level. Shut up, Chiou-san, screamed Tsunami, instantly making Tazuna stop and for Naruto to hold his ears in pain. Damn Tsunami, I have heard you scream like that since last time I was here, complained Subzero, holding his ears. I'll kill you, shouted Tazuna, only to be hit with a frying pan wielded by Tsunami. That's enough, San. You have it completely wrong. He is the one who saved me, Inari, and the villagers 5 years ago. Tazuna and the genins who were still holding him back went wide. I'd not expecting Subzero to be the person who saved Wave's villagers all those years ago. Wait, you're saying that he was the kid that saved you? Asked Tazuna, still holding his injured head. Yes, San, he's the one that saved me and the others from the bandits, but saved me from a worse fate. Without saying another word, Tazuna politely asked the genins to let go of him, which they did. He walked over to the confused Subzero and bowed to him with tears in his eyes. Thank you so much. No need to bow to me, Tazuna. I just did what any person would do. Besides, if you want to thank you should thank my master, since he is the one that sent me on that mission. Wiping his teary eyes, then I would like to thank your master. Where is he? Asked Tazuna, wanting to show his gratitude. Sorry, but like I said earlier, my master is dead. Sorry, I just wanted to thank the man that helped save my daughter. It is not problem, Tazuna. Anyway, Subzero looks over to the 4 clones still holding Kakashi. Why are you still here? Go and put Kakashi down somewhere, ordered Subzero. I set up some rooms for you all earlier. Follow me and I'll show you where you can. But Kakashi-san, the clones followed Tsunami to the room, leaving Tazuna, Subzero and the genins, who were looking at Subzero with curiosity. Something that was annoying him greatly. Are you going to keep staring at me? Asked Subzero, making Sayuri talk for the first time since he had turned up. Who are you? I told you already, my name is Subzero. Yes, but who are you? You're our age, yet you're so much stronger. You know Tsunami-san. You even know the Mizukage personally. So I'll ask again, just WHK up a bingo book. Most of my info is in there, was the only answer he gave. We don't have a bingo book, so just tell us, yelled Mito and Kiba, making everybody else hold their ears in pain. Dear Raiden, that hurt. If you get your friends to shut up, I lend you mine to look at, said Subzero, making Sayuri readily agree. Han. Ding her his bingo book. The 3 genins plus Tazuna opened it to see many names crossed out in black. Hey, what's with all the black line on people's names? Asked Kiba. They are all the people I have who NTED and killed. All 4 of them went wide-eyed at the amount of names blacked out in the book. Forget that. For now, they flipped through the book until they found his page. Name. Unknown. Title. Subzero. Age. 15 to 18. Date of birth. Unknown. Blood type. Unknown. Height. 5 feet 11. Weight. 136 to 178 lbs. Rank. A. Affiliation. Ronin, bounty hunter, mercenary. Description. Has white blue hair and has been seen wearing a blue trench coat with a hood, along with a blue face mask. Skills 110. Ninjutsu. 9 Genjutsu. Unknown Taijutsu. 8 Kenjutsu. 8 Funijutsu. 9 Information. Not much is known about him, but he has never failed to bring in a target or complete a mission. He is friends with Onoki of both scales. Sandame Tsuchikage, see page 55. Kuritsuchi of the Lave style, see page 89. Of the Yondaime Raikage, see page 72. Killer Bee, see page 73. Mei Terumi the Godime Mizukage, see page 79. Is known to spar with A and Killer Bee. Bounties. Suna. 50,000 are dead or alive. Oto. 61,000 are dead or alive. Aim, 42,000 are alive. Approach with extreme caution. After reading his page, all four were wide-eyed with unhinged jaws. What the hell? Screamed the four, making Subzero, who was sitting on the sofa talking to Tsunami, turn to them. So did that answer your questions? Asked Subzero using Kakashi's eye smile. It just raised more question. Exclaimed Sayuri, making Subzero chuckle lightly. Yep. Turning back to Tsunami, who had an amused but also confused expression on her face. What were they reading? Asked Tsunami, wanting to know why the four were so shocked. It's a book that tells you information about dangerous ninja, and they read my page, answered Subzero, making Tsunami want to read as well. Walking over to the still shocked four, she picked up the dropped book and read it. A few minutes later, a familiar sound hits Subzero's ears. What the hell? Getting annoyed with the constant shouting, Subzero goes upstairs to check on Kakashi, leaving 5 shocked people behind. Entering the room Kakashi was put in, he finds the Jonin awake and reading his book. See, you are awake, Kakashi, said Subzero, making the Jonin close his book and look at him with his usual eye smile. Yep, but I'm still very low on chakra. TCH. You have grown weak, Kakashi. Your name used to be feared by most, and now look at you. You would have died had I not shown up, not to mention got your team and client killed. Kakashi lowered his head in shame, knowing what he said was true. Anyway, you have a week at most before Zabuza comes back, so you had better prepare your team. Subzero-san, could you teach my students please, since I'm out of chakra? Asked Kakashi, hoping to get more time to read his book. They are your students, Kakashi, not mine. I plan only teaching those I find worthy, not some random genins that have an incompetent teacher. I see your point, Subzero-san, but whilst I'm teaching my students, could you watch the bridge in case Gato decides to send his bandits there? That I can do, With that, Subzero left, leaving Kakashi alone. This is going to be a long mission. Well, what do you think? This chapter was meant to be longer, but my laptop messed up, so I had to type it on my phone, so sorry. Anyway, the poll will close soon, so make sure you vote. Bye bye for now. Yo everyone. Sorry, it has taken forever to update, but my laptop is broke, so I've had to type this on my phone, and as you will see in this chapter, I'm not very good at it. Anyway, the poll is over and here are the results. 61 yes, 87%. 9 no, 12%. I know, right? The results shocked me too, sarcasm, but anyway, this story is now a harem. Cue cries of happiness. Now for the harem itself. The people I'm picking to be in it are Kuritsuchi and Anko, the rest will be up to you guys. Oh, and a quick shout out to Lucian Naruto. Oh, your idea was actually pretty close to the one I came up with, but with a few differences, so congratulations, you spoiled part of the story for yourself. Smiley face. Now on with the story. Oh, how Kakashi wished he could control time. For others that power would be used to save lives or to rule the world, but for Kakashi he just wanted the power to end this Kami-forsaken week. Ever since his team and Subzero arrived in wave, it has been one argument after another, from Tazuna screaming about Subzero for corrupting his daughter to his students complaining to him about their training. But thankfully for Kakashi, the mission was almost over. Not that he had done much during this mission other than reading his book, leaving his students to prepare themselves and having Subzero guard the bridge. Leaving him alone for what seemed like the first time in a week. Finally, no more shouting. I thought I was going to go deaf a couple of times this week, muttered Kakashi as he flipped a page in his book. Suddenly a cold breeze flew through the room, sending a shiver down Kakashi's spine. Looking up from his book, he sees Subzero with a pissed off look in his eyes. Already guessing what this was about, Kakashi put his book away with a disappointed sigh. What did they do this time? Asked Kakashi for what had to be the 7th time this week. For that last hour your 3 students have done nothing but annoy me with a bombardment of questions, ranging from my fighting styles to my hair color, so I have come to give you a warning. If your students don't leave me alone, I will impale them all on spears of ice. Shouted a pissed of Subzero, making Kakashi pale, knowing that he would go through with it. Nodding to the pissed of bounty hunter, Kakashi sighs in relief as Subzero leaving in a small breeze. Why do they have to piss off the guy that could kill them and probably me, said the Cyclops, before pulling out a familiar orange book. Giggle, oh Amy, you naughty girl. Wave bridge. appearing in a swirl of ice. Subzero sees Team 7 sitting down talking about something, not caring in the least. He walks over to the builders and sits down, ignoring the looks he was getting from the builders. Sit. Tingin quiet. For the first time since he started this mission, Subzero started to think about the current situation. So I have a team consisting of my ex-sister, an Uchiha who hasn't unlocked her Ringan, and a boy who uses a puppy to fight, all being taught by the most incompetent teacher the Leaf Village could find. Great, just great. He was broke from his thoughts when he sensed the 3 genins standing in front of him. As I have just warned your sensei, if you ask me any more pointless questions then I will impale you all on spears of ice, warned Subzero, making the 3 genin build. Who were listening pale at the threat. Actually, we wanted to ask you something, said a slightly paler Mito, still thinking about the threat. I don't care, so leave me be, replied Subzero. Me, it was Kiba who spoke. Please just hear us out. Fine, hurry up and ask your question. Not needing to be told twice, the 3 bowed. Please teach us, asked the genins. No, replied Subzero without missing a beat. What? Why? Yelled Mito and Kiba, pissed that someone would reject them so quickly, whilst Sayuri remained calm since she expected that kind of response. I said no, I won't teach Yon, but my children are people that join my clan, replied Subzero, getting nods of understanding from Kiba and Sayuri, but Mito was different since she had no clan. I don't care about your clan or whatever. I just want you to teach me those cool techniques, yelled Mito. You don't have what it take to join the Lin Kuei, sated Subzero, pissing Mito off. That's it, I'm sick of your attitude towards us. So fight me and I'll prove to you that I hailed Mito, making Subzero chuckle darkly. Well then, I challenge you to Mortal Kombat, declared Subzero, confusing all of the genins. What the hell is Mortal Kombat? Asked Kiba. I'm glad you asked. Mortal Kombat was once the way that people solved disputes like the one we are having right now by fighting till one can no longer fight or death, answered Subzero, making all that herd pale. Isn't that taking this too far? Asked Sayuri, worried for her friend since her opponent was an A-rank ninja. Don't worry, Sayuri-chan, I'll kick his frozen ass, Datbeo, yelled Mito with fire in her eyes. Don't fool yourself, girl. You can't beat me even if your team helped, mocked Subzero, pissing the 3 genins off, but enough to 4. Now, we will fight. Later, since unlike some I intend to do the job I was paid for, and with that he closed his eyes and began to meditate. Walking away, but, still pissed at the mercenary, Team 7 head towards the woods to help Mito practice for her upcoming fight. Annoying brats, but at least I get to see what she can do in a fight, thought Subzero, wanting to see how his ex-sister stacked up to him. 2 days later, in a clearing was Subzero, dressed normally. Apart from his trench coat was missing. Across from him stood Mito, glaring at him, with Kakashi standing in the middle of the two. Okay, as Subzero-san P. Udit, this is a challenge of Mortal Kombat. Anything goes, but please try to avoid killing blows. Getting nods from the 2 fighters, he continues, well then, if everyone is ready, fight. Quote, this isn't worth my time, said Subzero, standing in a lazy posture, reminding them all of Kakashi. Don't underestimate me, you bastard. Sweden. Water bullet jutsu, screamed Mito, sending a large bullet of at Subzero, who just folded his arms and shook his head in disappointment. Is that all? I expected more. Unleashing an icy aura, everyone watched as the water bullet froze in midair and dropped to the floor, shattering. What? Sidelines. What the hell just happened, sensei? Yelled Kiba, with Akamaru barking in agreement. I think that Subzero has a bloodline, and a powerful one at that, saw it, Kakashi, with a serious look in his eye. A bloodline? You mean like Sayuri's family and those chains the Mito and her mom can use? Asked Kina, getting an eye smile from his sensei. Yes, Kiba, but like the Uchiha clan, I think that his bloodline involves ice. I've noticed that when he is emotional the air gets colder, and when you insulted him the lake he stood on froze, that and he keeps threatening to impale us all on spears of ice, finished Kakashi, making Kiba and Sayuri face palm. How did I not think of that? Back to the fight. What the hell was that? Shouted Mito, scared that one of her best justice was stopped so easily. Was that it? What happened to kicking my frozen ass? Taunted Subzero. I'm not done yet, you bastard, shouted Mito, sprinting towards the unmoving Subzero. Launched a high kick to his head, barely moving. He had Subzero dodged the kick, making her kick mid-air. Before she knew it, she was launched into a tree thanks to a punch to her stomach. Is that really all the daughter of the great Yellow Flash can do? Can't even take a small punch. If Onoki was here we would be laughing his ass off, said Subzero, shaking his head in disappointment. Lying against the tree, she was punched too. Mito was getting angrier and angrier with every passing moment. Mito's mindscape, watching from the deep corners of her mind, two larger end eyes looked at the current scene. With amusement as it felt the pull on its chakra. This is about to get more interesting. Back to the fight. Subzero watched as Mito's body was engulfed in a cloak of menacing red chakra. Using He Fox's power already. Ah well, let's see if this will help you, taunted Subzero, making the girl growl and charge at him in all fours and single chakra tail swishing behind her. Dodging a swipe, Sub-Zero uppercuts Mito, but this time she dodges and uses her tail to take another swipe at him, quickly dodging the tail. He jumps over Mito and goes through hand signs and places his hands on the ground. Ice release. Frozen wasteland, causing the entire cleaning including the trees to be covered in ice. I could end this fight right now, but where is the fun in that? Show me what you can do, daughter of the Yellow Flash, taunted Subzero. Making Mito angrier. Standing up 2 legs, Mito hunches over and says something that shocks him. Adamantine chains. 4 chains of assault, unleashing 4 glowing red chains from her back to a still shocked Subzero was not expecting her to get her mother's bloodline. Too late to move, the chains wrap around him, making Mito smirk, thinking she had won. Ha, not so cocky now are you, mocked Mito. Sidelines. Ha, go Mito, show that bastard, yelled Kiba whilst Sayuri stood there shocked that her best friend had just beaten an A-rank ninja. It's not over yet, saw-id Kakashi, making the 2 genins look at him in confusion. What are you talking about, sensei? No one can escape those chains, not even the Kyuubi could, said Sayuri, not getting what her sensei meant. I'm not surprised you didn't notice, I barely did, just watch and you'll see, said Kakashi, making the other 2 turn back to watch the fight. Back to the fight. What, got nothing to say? Taunted Mito. Oh, still not getting a reply, she tightened her chains hoping to get a response, but instead, Subzero shattered into ice. What? Yelled Mito, not getting how he escaped her chains. I never expected you would inherited those chains, said Subzero as he walked out from the ice-covered tree. How the hell did you get there? Demanded Mito. Now why would I tell you that? He asked. Fine, I'll just beat the answers out of you, Datbeo, declared Mito. Let's see what you do about this. Ice release. Black Dragon Jutsu. Thrusting his arm forward, a large Ethel Dragon launched at the surprised Mito. Not having enough time to dodge, Mito infuses the rest of Kyuubi's chakra into her chains, hoping to destroy the jutsu. As the 2 jutsus met, Mito was forced back by the strength of it, but after a short struggle, he chains prevailed and the dragon broke. You destroyed it. Congratulations, but what will you do about the others? What others? Said a panting Mito between breaths. These ICE release. Twin Black Dragon Jutsu. Thrusting both arms, 2 large black dragons were launched at the exhausted Mito. Not being able to dodge the oncoming attack, Mito shut her eyes and prepared for pain. But none came. Opening her eyes, she sees Subzero standing in front of her, holding the 2 dragons by the head, stopping them from reaching her. Are you okay? Not having the strength to talk, she gave him a weak nod. Good. Now I hope this solves the little dispute. Again another nod. Tensing his hands, causing the 2 dragons to shatter, Subzero begins to walk towards Tazuna's home, leaving the ND2 shocked genins, an exhausted Mito and a worried Kakashi. To be able to beat an enraged Jinchuriku so easily, that man is very dangerous, thought Kakashi before picking up Mito, but sees something on her shirt. Looking closer, he sees a very intricate seal, making him go wide-eyed as he remembered Subzero's words. I could end this fight right now, but where is the fun in that? Show me what you can do, daughter of the Yellow Flash. Very dangerous indeed. Well, that's it for now. Sorry about it being short and whatever spelling and grammar mistakes I made. I'm not used to typing stuff like T's on my phone and I have no app to check my grammar. As I have said many times, I'm no good at writing fights, but I gave it a go, and I know it seems one-sided, but remember, Naruto is an A-rank ninja. ND Mito is just a genin, so they are at completely different strength levels. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. The poll will be up in the next few days. Don't forget to review. Bye bye for now. Merry Christmas everyone. I know most writers tend to ignore guest reviews, but I don't want to, since their opinion still matters. Anyway, time for some review responses. You said that I used a cliché by changing Naruto's DNA yet excuse to make superhero like Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, every mutant in X-Men so ha. Ori about misspelling Jinchuriki. Phantasm Reaper King. Naruto does have many things that make him different from the average ninja, like his control over ice and more things that I have yet to reveal. Also, not all of the harem will control ice, but some will. Remember to vote for the harem. On with the story. Thinking. Normal talking. Demon. Jutsu. Last time. To be able to beat an enraged Jinchuriki so easily, that man is very dangerous, thought Kakashi before picking up Mito, but sees something on her shirt. Looking closer, he sees a very intricate seal, making him go wide-eyed as he remembered Subzero's words. I could end this fight right now, but where is the fun in that? Show me what you can do, daughter of the Yellow Flash. Very dangerous indeed. End of the week. The long week was finally at its end, and Kakashi and Subzero were ready to shout Kami's praise for it. Ever NCE the fight with Subzero Team 7 had changed. Kiba would take his training more seriously. Sayuri would train for longer and harder. The strangest change was Mito. She would behave like her normal bras self, but when Subzero was around she became quieter and would shy away from him. Now on the last day of the week, the bridge was nearly finished and Subzero couldn't be happier, since he just wanted to get this mission over with. Guarding Tazuna as normal was Subzero, who was starting to get bored of this mission altogether. May better add a bonus for all the shit I have had to go through to get Zabuza, thought Subzero as he lay on the bridge watching the clouds float by. What felt like days later, the men stopped their work for the day, so he walks back with Tazuna to his house for dinner, mentally hoping nothing weird happens during the meal. Oh, you poor idiot, wahaha. Tazuna's house. Tsunami was happily cooking in the kitchen whilst her guests waited for Tazuna and Subzero to get back so they could eat. After the fight, Team 7 had grown respect for the Ronin, all in their own ways. Kiba respected his strength. Sayuri also respected his strength along with his cool attitude. I needed to make at least one ice pun. Mito, on the other hand, respected his compassion, since he willingly saved her even when she insulted him. For her, this made him someone to be respected. Even Kakashi Guy Ned a newfound respect for the bounty hunter for his skill in nearly all the ninja aspects. He hasn't seen all of his skills, nor has he read the bingo book. So who do you think would win in a fight, Kakashi-sensei or Subzero? Asked Kiba, making the girls groan. That's the 6th time you've asked us that since the fight, Kiba, and we told you we don't know. Yelled Mito. TCH, like I believed I bet you think your boyfriend would win, said Kiba, making Mito blush. He's not my boyfriend, screamed Mito, blushing bright red. You so like him, I saw the looks you were giving him after he saved your ass, accused Kiba. I will admit, Mito, you have been acting strangely around him lately, said Sayuri. I don't like that ice bastard, yelled Mito. I wouldn't call him a bastard if I were you, said Voice. Oh yeah, and what are you going to do about it? Said Mito, turning to meet the Voice, only to pale as she looked into the icy eyes of Subzero. I'll impale you on a spear of ice, warned Subzero before taking a seat at the table. Leaving a pale and embarrassed Mito sitting in silence, Subzero decides to ask Kakashi some questions. So Kakashi, what have you been teaching your genin this past week? Asked the Ronin. Looking up from his book, Kakashi looks over to Subzero. This and that, nothing too special, he answered, making Subzero smirk. Not telling me your team's skills in case I decide to turn. Very smart, Kakashi. But like kids with a new toy, the 3 genins couldn't wait to show off. We learned lots. I learned a couple of earth jutsu along with tree walking, shouted Kiba, Acking Kakashi mentally face palm since his plan was ruined. I have learned a fire and lighting jutsu along with the tree walking exercise, said Sayuri. I learned a wind and water jutsu along with the tree walking exercise, said Mito, not wanting to be left out. My, that is impressive. Congratulations you 3, especially you, Sayuri. Fire and lighting are 2 of the hardest elements to learn. PR. iced Subzero, making a tinge of pink appear on Sayuri's cheeks and a frown to appear on Mito's. Before anyone could say anything, Tsunami came into the room carrying dinner along with Inari, who had his normal frown on his face. Sorry for the wait everyone. Placing the food on the table, Tsunami and everyone dug into the simple but very delicious meal. Why? Whispered Inari. Why what kid? Why do you bother, you're all going to die? Screamed Inari, surprising everyone at his outburst. Inari, don't say such things. Shouted Tsunami. Why not, it's true. No one can stand up to Gato and his army, said Inari, pissing off Team 7. I'm not going to lose to some guy who hides behind a group of thugs. Shouted Kiba. Yeah, my Ka-chan would kick my ass if I lost to some wannabe gangster, ya know. Exclaimed Mito. Liars, you'll all die, they are too strong for you to defeat. Yelled Inari, making Subzero sigh. Inari, I promise you that Gato will die, said Subzero, making Inari look at him with tears in his eyes. BB, but they're too strong. Cried Inari. I'm pretty strong myself, Inari, remember I did save you and your mother all those years ago, so trust me, this country will be saved. And with this final words, Inari let loose his tears and hugged his mother, who smiled at Subzero in gratitude. The rest of the meal was spent in comfortable silence. Midnight. As everyone slept in their beds, Subzero was lying on the sofa thinking about the events that were likely to happen tomorrow. Suddenly the sound of creaky floorboards got his attention. Turning to the noise, he sees a sight that made his jaw drop and almost made him pass out from blood loss. Standing there was Tsunami in a red see-through baby doll with matching panties showing off her gorgeous body. So Subzero, or can I call you Naruto now? Asked Tsunami with a wink, making him nod his head dumbly, getting her to giggle. So Naruto-kun, do you like what you see? She asked whilst doing a pose. Why yes, very much, getting another giggle from her. Walking with sway in her hips, Tsunami circles her arms around his neck. Good, think of this as more motivation for tomorrow, and with that she kissed the stunned Ronin with passion and lust. Just as Naruto was about to return the kiss, Tsunami pulled back with glazed eyes and a sly smirk. That's just a taste, so make sure you win. Turning away, Tsunami walked back upstairs, swaying her hips, making sure that Naruto was watching her. Well, now I have a serious case of blue balls, whispered Naruto as he lay back down and went to sleep, dreaming about his reward. The next morning, after an awkward breakfast, thanks to the looks Tsunami was giving Naruto something everyone else missed, Team 7, Tazuna and Subzero headed towards the bridge. All right, the bridge is almost finished, all we need to do is check that everything is secure, ordered Tazuna, getting nods from his workers. After 2 hours of work, the builders deemed the bridge secure, so they took off back home for lunch. Once ever, why worker left an unnatural mist gathered on the bridge. Well, your bridge is done, too bad, it won't matter, spoke a voice that they all recognized. Come on out, Zabuza, you know this mist won't work. Oh, let's hurry this up since I still need to drag your sorry ass back to Kiri, said Subzero. Good point, I want to collect my money for the old man's head quickly, said Zabuza as the mist cleared, revealing him in the fake hunter Nin. Haku, you kill the 3 genins, I'll take on Copycat and Snow Cone here, ordered Zabuza. Of course, Zabuza-sama, said Haku before disappearing. Say goodbye to your students, Kakashi, taunted Zabuza. I trust my students, they're stronger than when we last meet. You may have trained them for a week, but Haku is strong, even stronger than me, said Zabuza. Need to end this quick. Thankfully Subzero is here to help, thought Kakashi as he sent Subzero a look. Whatever, Zabuza, let's get this over with, said Naruto, covering his fists in ice. Impatient one, aren't you? Said Zabuza, taking his sword from his back. We need to hurry, Subzero, the others could be in danger, said Kakashi as he lifted his headband, revealing his Sharingan. Ice release. Twin Black Dragon Jutsu. Thrusting both arms forward, 2 black dragons shot out of his arms and clashed, creating an icy tornado, shocking Zabuza. Crap, water release. Water wall jutsu, shouted Zabuza as he created a large wall of water between him and the tornado, only to go wide-eyed when the wall froze and shattered, leaving him to the mercy of the tornado. Before Zabuza got pulled in, he disappeared in a poof of smoke, leaving a log to get frozen and shredded. I got to say, I didn't expect that Haku does know any ice jutsu that destructive, said Zabuza as he went through hand seals, water release, water dragon juts. You, shouted Zabuza, making a huge water dragon rise from the water below and charge at Subzero, who smirked. Fool, didn't you learn anything a minute ago? Lin Kuei technique ice blast, yelled Subzero as he sent a ball of ice rocketing towards the dragon, freezing it on contact. What the hell? Exclaimed Zabuza, shocked that a small ball of ice could freeze his mighty dragon so easily. Water jutsu are useless against me, Zabuza. You better come up with something quick or it might be your head I deliver instead. TCH, if swords won't work I'll kill you the old-fashioned way, said Zabuza as he takes his sword from his back and pointed at Subzero. By cutting you in two, declared Zabuza. You forgot one thing, Zabuza, stated Subzero. Oh, and what's that? Me. Now guys, summoning. Earth release tracking F. Ang technique, shouted Kakashi as 8 dogs that differed in size burst out of the ground and bit down on different areas of Zabuza, 2 on each leg, 1 on each hand, another on his shoulder, 1 biting down on the Kubikiryoko. It's over, Zabuza, said Kakashi, looking at the trapped Zabuza. Clap clap clap. Looks like the demon of the mist was nothing but a baby demon, said a short man with glasses surrounded by an army of bandits. TCH, Gato, what are you doing here? Demanded Zabuza. Do you really need to ask? I'm here to watch these guys do what you couldn't, kill the bridge builder and destroy this bridge, sneered Gato. You bastard. When I get out of this I'll cut your head off and shove it up your ass, shouted Zabuza, making Gato laugh. Ha, you can try, I have an army and there is 3 of you, sneered Gato. Make that 7, you midget, yelled Kiba as he, Mito, Sayuri and Haku, who had minor injuries apart from Mito since hers had healed. 3-7, what's the difference when your enemy is an army, yelled Gato. Now kill that old man and earn your pay, shouted Gato. Kill the old man. Get the bastard. Kill them all. Mito, Kiba, Sayuri, stay behind us and only kill those that get past, that's an order, ordered Kakashi, getting nods from the genins. Don't worry Kakashi, I've got this, said Subzero as he calmly walked towards the charging army. Oi, don't be an idiot, get back in formation, exclaimed Kiba, but was ignored. Hey look, this guy wants to be a hero, shouted a bearded bandit. Let's show him what happens to heroes, shouted another. I'm going to show you one of my most powerful techniques, so watch closely. Lin Kuei's secret technique, wandering the frozen wasteland, said Subzero, barely above a whisper as he placed both his hands on the ground. Unleashing ice that froze the ground, the army ran on, making them stop in fright but only to laugh. Haha, that was your ultimate technique, laughed one bandit. Haha, that was so shit. What is ICA? HH, screamed the bandit as Subzero appeared behind him with a sword made of ice sticking out of his stomach, shocking everyone. You all have 1 minute to live. I suggest you use this time to piss yourself, followed by praying to your insignificant god, said Subzero as his body sunk into the ice below. The next minute was nothing short of a massacre. Limbs were lost, blood was spilled and lives were ended, and after a single minute, the army of 300 was nothing but corpses. What the hell are you? Screamed Gato in fright as he looked at a blood-covered Subzero who was standing in the middle of his fallen army. Me, I'm your executioner, said Subzero, who appeared a few feet in front of him. Ice blast, shouted Subzero, launching a ball of ice at Gato's chest, freeze and shattering it, letting everyone see his spine and organs. Perfect, I love this finisher. Walking towards the die, Gato, Subzero grabbed his spine with 2 hands and used incredible strength and ripped the midget in TW. Oh, shocking Team 7 and the brutality of the kill, and making Zabuza smile with pride. Throwing the 2 halves of Gato over the bridge, Subzero walks towards the ninja, noticing that the genins look pale. Well, there ends the tyranny of Gato, said Subzero. Kid, you really are starting to remind me of a younger me. That was once of the most brutal kills I have ever seen. You would fit in well with the 7 swordsmen, praised Zabuza. Subzero-san, may I ask what that technique was? It reminded me of my demonic mirroring ice crystals, asked Haku, who had removed her mask, showing everyone her beautiful face. I haven't seen your jutsu, but mine uses ice to cover the floor or walls to appear instantaneously in the ice or I create, answered Subzero, giving a brief version. That is so cool, shouted Kiba with stars in his eyes. I will admit that is a very dangerous technique. Where did you learn it? Asked Kakashi, quite shocked that a jutsu like his sensei's existed. Oh, I invented it, said Subs. Ro like it was nothing special but shocked the others that someone so young could invent such a powerful jutsu. You must be some kind of genius, said Kiba, with Akamaru barking in agreement. I wouldn't say genius, but I'm pretty smart. Anyway, let's head back and tell everyone the news. Getting nods of agreement, the ninja headed towards Tazuna's house to tell him the good news. Later that night, news of Gato's death spread. The people all gathered at the town square and celebrated by throwing a big party. Kiba was trying to flirt with a bunch of village girls. Mito and Sayuri, Haku were Tr. Ying to ignore all the boys trying to ask them to dance. Kakashi as normal was reading his book and giggling. Zabuza entered a drinking contest. Only 2 people couldn't be found. One was Tsunami the daughter of Tazuna, the other was Subzero, the savior of Nami no Kuni. At Tazuna's house. Are you sure about this, Tsunami? Asked Naruto between kisses. Yes, I'm sure, so let's not waste any more time. Insert lemon here. Sorry, I can't write lemons. If someone wants to write one, go for it. The next morning, after a night of partying and other stuff, the ninja stood on the bridge ready to leave, but as stopped by Tazuna as he wanted to make an announcement. In honor of our savior, I believe that we should name the bridge he helped defend after him. Get shouts of approval. Tazuna continued. Well, then since there is no objection, I name this bridge the Great Lin Kuei Bridge. Shouted Tazuna, making the people of Waves shout in joy. Thank you, Tazuna, said Subzero with a bow only to be waved off. Why, Tazuna? It's us that should be thanking you, countered Tazuna. Anyway, I need to get moving. I'm already a week behind thanks to this idiot, said Subzero as he pointed at the annoyed Zabuza. Turning to walk away, Subzero was pulled back by Tsunami, who pulled down his mask and gave him a passionate kiss, being careful to hide his face. This got many reactions from the group, a giggle from Kakashi, a thumbs up from Kiba, and weirdly 2 frowns from Mito and Sayuri, but the worst reaction was Tazuna. I knew you corrupted my daughter, you bastard, yelled Tazuna, only to get hit in the head by AF. Frying pan. Shut up too, San, warned Tsunami, still holding the frying pan, but stopped when Inari came over. Ka-chan, does that make Subzero my new 2-san? And Subzero blush. That's complicated. Inari, we will talk about it later. Okay, sweetie, said Tsunami, trying to fight down her blush. Getting a nod from her son, she turned back to the equally red Subzero. And Subzero-kun, please do try to visit. I still need to reward you, she said with a wink. Nodding, Zabuza and Haku heads towards Kiri whilst the Leaf Ninja head towards Konaha. Well, that's it for now. So what do you think? The Lin Kuei techniques are the moves that Subzero uses in the games. I choose to call them this since they don't use chakra, so they aren't ice jutsu, and they are moves that belong to the Lin Kuei clan. Current harem Anko Kuritsuchi. Tsunami, maybe. Don't forget to vote for the harem. Bye bye for now. Yo, everyone. Sorry, it took so long to update. School started again, so I have been pretty busy. The poll is due. WN and the winners have been decided, so the harem is complete. Anko, Kuritsuchi, Tsunami, Makoto, Kushina, Mito and Sayuri, with Samui, Conan and Mei as a maybes since I like them. Anyway, time for me review responses. For guest, you'll just have to find the response that fits what you put. Guest. Congratulations, you can swear. Your parents must be so proud. Aquos Dragon. I'm confused as well. Oz. Own guy. I don't really know enough about Fu to actually write about her, and as for your other idea, I may actually use that, thanks. Guest. I'm an immature guy, so I don't really care what you think. Captain Maroni. You can thank Grammarly for no grammar errors. Necroexparta Jubi no Kishin. Ever think about shortening your name? I wasn't planning on people from the MK world appearing in this I see only people with their powers, but you do bring up some good points, so I may add 1 or 2 characters. JH831. That finisher is pretty cool. Naruto Kushina. I'm not sure about adding Haku to the harem, but she will join the Lin Kuei. It's me, Hamza. I like pairings that are rare, which is the reason I used Tsunami along with Kuritsuchi and the others. Stratus 263. I never said he lost his virginity to Tsunami. Gold Testament. Don't worry, Gold-kun, I will be in the harem, and one fairy will try his best to write a lemon, won't you, one fairly-chan? Gulp. Of course, Tsunami-sama. Now please, will you put the frying pan away? That's it for the reviews, so let's get on with the story, shall we? Disclaimer. I don't own Naruto or Mortal Kombat. Thinking. Normal talking. Demon. Jutsu. Last time. Turning. To walk away, Subzero was pulled back by Tsunami, who pulled down his mask and gave him a passionate kiss, being careful to hide his face. This got many reactions from the group, a giggle from Kakashi, a thumbs up from Kiba, and weirdly 2 frowns from Mito and Sayuri, but the worst reaction was Tazuna. "I knew you corrupted my daughter, you bastard," yelled Tazuna, only to get hit in the head by AF. Frying pan. "Shut up too, San," warned Tsunami, still holding the frying pan, but stopped. When Inari came over, Ka-chan, does that make Subzero my new San?" asked Inari, making her and Subzero blush. "That's complicated, Inari, we will talk about it later, okay sweetie," said Tsunami, trying to fight down her blush. Getting a nod from her son, she turned to Ed back to the equally red Subzero, and Subzero-ku. "And please do try to visit, I still need to reward you," she said with a wink. Nodding, Zabuza and Haku heads towards Kiri whilst the Leaf Ninja head towards Konaha. Now, after leaving Wave Country, Subzero, Zabuza and Haku set sail on a boat that Naruto had used to travel there. As the 3 sailed towards Kiri, Subzero sat on the deck, wait to arrive until a feminine voice called out to him. Subzero-san, can I talk to you?" asked Haku. "What is it you need to discuss?" "Well, I wanted to know how you can control ice. Are you a part of the Yuki clan?" Haku asked with hope in her eyes. "I'm AFR. 8, I'm not part of the Yuki clan," answered Subzero, destroying Haku's hope of finding any of her family. "Oh," muttered Haku, looking to the ground, the hope gone in her eyes. "But," Haku's head shot up, "my clan is the originator of your clan, so in a sense we are family, albeit very very distantly," finished Subzero. Not a second later, Haku launched herself at Subzero with tears of joy in her eyes. After letting Haku cry for a minute, Subzero pulls away and looks into Haku's red puffy eyes. "Why are you crying, Haku?" Subzero asked. "I'm so happy that I finally have a family," said Haku, not noticing Zabuza watching the two. "Of course, you have family, Haku." Seeing Haku's confused look, he continued, "You have Zabuza." "But I'm only Zabuza-sama's tool," said Haku, making a pained expression appear on his face. "No, Haku, you're not," said Zabuza, stepping into view. "At first, I wanted to use you to help me defeat Yagura, but before I knew it I started to see you as the daughter I never had, but I had a reputation to uphold, so I couldn't show it. Now that we are returning to Kiri, I hope that we can start again, if not I undao," yelled Zabuza as Haku threw herself at Zabuza, hugging the life out of him. Seeing that he was no longer needed, Subzero went inside to sleep. Kiri. Sitting behind the Mizukage's desk was the newly instated Mizukage maid Terumi. She is a tall, slender woman with green eyes, and an flea-length auburn hair styled into a herringbone pattern at the back, a topknot tied with a dark blue band, and 4 bangs at the front. 2 bangs are short, with one covering her right eye, and 2 are long, crossing each other on her bust, are just below her chin. She wears a dark blue dress that falls just below her knees. Underneath she wears a mesh armor along with a white belt, along with high-heeled sandals and shin guards reaching up over her knees. "Stupid paperwork, it's the curse of all cages," complained Mei as she worked through a massive pile of paperwork. "And when will Subzero-kun get back with that Zabuza baka?" said Mei, making her bodyguard Ao snort. "I bet he won't find Zabuza and will just leave with the first half of the money. That man is a mercenary, Mei-sama, and shouldn't be trusted." "I know I won't ever trust the man," said Ao, was not trusting the masked mercenaries, since all mercenaries ever cared about is money and will do anything to get it. "Won't find man ever," Mei inwardly repeated over and over. Mei-sama, are you listening to me?" asked Ao. "Ao, shut up or I'll kill you," said Mei with a smile, scaring Ao. "What did I say?" thought Ao. Ignoring her scared bodyguard, Mei went back to doing paperwork, but was soon interrupted by a knock at the door. "Enter," said Mei, happy to get a distraction from her paperwork. As the door opened, Mei's secretary came in. With a slightly scared look on her face. "Mizukage-sama, you have 3 guests. One is Zabuza Momochi and the other is Subzero-san," said the secretary, making Mei's smile brighten. "Show them in," said Mei with joy in her voice. "Of course, Mizukage-sama," said the secretary with a bow before leaving the room to get them. As soon as the secretary left, May jumped out of her seat and looked at her reflectio in the window and started to reapply her makeup, confusing Ao. May-sama, what are you doing? Ao asked. Making sure I look good for Subzero-kun, what else? She replied like it was obvious, making Ao sweat drop. Of course, how I should have known, said Ao. After May made sure she was presentable, she sat back down and waited for them to arrive. Not a minute later, a knock was heard on the door. Come in, said May in a seductive voice, making Ao sweat drop again. As the door opened, May and Ao were greeted by the sight of Zabuza Momochi getting scolded by a teenage girl and Subzero chuckling at the pair. Missions accomplished, Mizukage-sama, said Subzero professionally. No need for formalities, Subzero-kun. May or May-chan is fine, said May, getting a sweat drop from Ao and Zabuza, a glare from Haku and an eye smile from Subzero. Very well, May-chan, said Subzero, getting a smile from May and scowl from Haku. Oh, and take that mask of you, look so much better without it, said May, but pouted when he shook his head. Please, Subzero-kun, I want to see your handsome face, said May. You never know, May-chan, I could be ugly, say pout. Please, Subzero-kun, I want to see it. Looking over to Haku, May sees the hope in her eyes and smiles. And I'm sure I'm not the only one, said May, making him sigh. Nope, not happening, said Subzero, making May and Haku pout. Now, May-chan, I need to leave since Onak I wants to see me, so can I please get my pay? Asked Subzero, making May get a sly look on her face. I'll only pay you if you show me your face, said May with a smile. No, that's not going to happen, May-chan, so please just pay me, said Subzero, making May's eyes start to water. Sigh, how about I tell you something only 7 people know, offered Subzero, making May's eyes light up. Oh, and what would that be? May asked. Walking towards May, Subzero leant over the desk and whispered in her ear. My real name, he whispered, making May gasp in shock, nodding her head. Subzero whispered it to her, mocking her smile. So I finally get to know my future husband's name, this is great, thought May as Subzero stepped back. Now make sure you keep that a secret or forget about me ever working with you or Kiri again, warned Subzero, making her nod. Don't worry, Subzero-kun, I'll keep it a secret. Now as for you pay, it will be transferred into your account within the next few days, said May, getting a thankful nod from the mercenary. Thank you. May-chan, send me a message if you require my services again. For now, I need to go see the old man, and Kuro-chan will get pissed off if I'm late again, said Subzero, getting a chill down his spine as he remembered last time he showed up late to a job for the old man. He didn't notice May and Haku's scowls at the mention of Kuro-chan. This Kuro-chan wouldn't happen to be Kuritsuchi, granddaughter of Onoki, would it? Asked May, annoyed that another woman had caught Subzero's eye. Yeah, that's Kuro-chan, she makes me call her that for some reason, said an OBL. Ivius Subzero, making everyone sweat drop and think the same thing. He can't possibly be that dense, can he? Cough. Anyway, good luck on your travels, and do make sure you stop by every now and then. I do ever so love your company, said May with a wink, making a light blush appear on Subaru's face, not that anyone could see it. Of course, May-chan, now I really must get going, so see y'all later, Zabuza. Haku-chan. Having said his goodbyes, Subzero disappears in a cyclone of snow and ice. TCH, show off, muttered Zabuza before getting a chill go down his spine. Turning, he sees May give him a sickly sweet smile. Now, Zabuza Baka, you're going to explain why you choose to run away instead of helping the rebellion, said May, her smile never wavering. Crap, was all the man said before he jumped out of the window, with May in pursuit, spitting globs of lava at him. No use running, Zabuza Baka, I'm going to catch you and melt your balls off, shouted May. A moment's silence for that poor bastard. With Naruto appearing outside of Kiri, Naruto bites his thumb, drawing a small amount of blood, and then goes through a quick sequence of hand signs before shouting, Kuchio's no jutsu, creating a large plume of smoke. As the smoke cleared, a western dragon the size of a 2-story house with light blue scales and glowing yellow eyes appeared. Oh, Subzero, why'd you summon me? Asked the mighty beast. Sorry, Wint. Fang, I need a lift to Iowa pronto if Kuro-chan will kill me, said Subzero, making the dragon chuckle. Haha, your mate has you whipped already, laughed Winter Fang. Oi, I'm not whipped and she's not my mate, you stupid reptile, exclaimed Subzero. Whatever you say Snowball, just get on, I have training with father soon. Climbing on the back of Winterfang, the duo took off into the sky and towards Iwa. Gates of Iwa. Sitting at the gate were Iwa's eternal gate guards Kuroda and Koizumi, two chunin that got suckered into being the gate guards. The two sat in their booth playing cards, ha read and weep. Said Koizumi, who was holding a full house. Koizumi were playing rummy, said Kuroda with a sweat drop. I knew that I was just testing you, that's all, exclaimed Koizumi with a grin, making his fryin'. D facepalm, whatever, let's play Aga. Wait, do you hear that? Asked Kuroda. Nope, all I hear is the wind and a loud flapping sound, answered Koizumi, only to get hit in the back of the head by an angry Kuroda. That's what I was talking about, he yelled. Oh, my bad, apologized Koizumi. Whatever, let's just go see what it is. With that, the two left there both to see the cause of the strange sound. Looking up to the sky and seeing nothing, the duo were about to return until Koizumi saw a small black dot in the sky that was headed towards them. Hey, Kuro, what do you think that is? Asked Koizumi. My guess that's the cause of that noise. Get ready in case we have to fight. The two pulled out a kunai each and hid it behind them. As the dot got closer, the two went wide-eyed. In the distance was a western dragon flying towards them at incredible speed. Not sure what to do in this situation, the two kept their guard up and waited for the dragon to get closer. As the beast got closer and closer, they could see more details of the beast, like its light blue scales and his yellow slitted eyes, but the most bizarre thing was what looked like a man riding in its back. Oi, you're seeing this to right, muttered Kuroda. Of course, I see it, the thing is pretty hard to miss, exclaimed Koizumi. Not the dragon, the guy riding on it, shouted Kuroda, making Koizumi squint his eyes, trying to get a better look until he saw him. There's a guy on that thing. I just said that, you moron, exclaimed Kuroda whilst punching Koizumi in the head. Oi, you two, stop bickering, shouted a voice the two recognized. Turning to the voice, they see Subzero standing next to the dragon. That was you, Subzero. Damn, where'd you get the dragon? Asked Koizumi. Summoning contract. Thanks, Winterfang, you can go now, said Subzero. Whatever, Snowball, tell your mate to get you on a tighter leash, joked Winterfang, making the two guards laugh and pissing off Subzero. Ha ha ha, I bet he's talking about Kuritsuchi, the two said together. Ha ha ha, told you, laughed the dragon before disappearing in a poof of smoke, avoiding a spear of ice. Tch, stupid reptile, muttered Subzero before walking towards the village, leaving the gate guards to laugh at his expense. Ha ha, so wanna bet that him and Kurodachi to get together? Asked Koizumi, getting a snort from Kuroda. That's a sucker's bet. Tsuchikage office. Onoki, the Sandame Tsuchikage Onoki is a very short, old man with a triangular beard and a mustache that has angular corners, a big red nose and thick eyebrows. The top of his head is completely bald, although he has long white hair on the lower half of his head, which is styled in a traditional Chonmage haircut, the back of which is tied with a yellow ribbon into a topknot. Onoki wears a green and yellow coat with a red collar. Underneath he wears the traditional Iwagakure outfit, consistent of a light green version of Iwagakure's flak jacket and mesh armor. He, however, has both his sleeves of his RT but kept the single lapel on his right side. Along with this, he wears sandals. Currently, Onoki was rubbing his temple, trying to soothe the building headache he was getting. The cause of his headache was his granddaughter Kuritsuchi. Kuritsuchi had short, black hair and pupil-less, pink eyes that are accentuated by her eyelashes running upwards at the corners. She wears the standard attire of Iwa Nin, consisting of a red uniform with her right sleeve missing and a lapel over her right leg, the brown Iwagakure flak jacket, fishnet tights and a skirt over them. She also wears regular shinobi sandals and a pair of gloves. I can't believe he's late, yelled a pissed off and frustrated Kuritsuchi as she stomped around her grandfather's office. Not knowing how to calm his granddaughter on, Oki prayed for something to happen. As if Kami heard his prayers, a swirl of ice and snow appeared, revealing Subzero. Yo, old man, greeted Subzero, making a tick mark appear on Onoki's forehead, but quick Lee went and was replaced by a sinister smile, something that creeped Subzero out. Naru-kun, what didng late? Naruto went wide-eyed and pale as he heard that voice. Turning around he saw Kuritsuchi with her arm encased in rock with steam coming off of it, meaning she combined it with her lava release. Hey, Kuro-chan sorry about being late but Zabuza wouldn't quite his mission so I had to stay and wave. Until he was finished and then Mei-chan wouldn't let me leave until she saw my face, said Naruto who quickly covered his masked mouth realizing what he had just said. So you show this hussy Mei your face but not me, exclaimed an angry Kuritsuchi who tried to hit him with her rock, lava-covered arm. Stop moving so I can hit you, she yelled swinging her rock, lava arm around. Stop Kuro-chan, I never showed her my face so please stop, begged Naruto who was hiding behind a nervous Onoki. Releasing her jutsu Kuritsuchi walks over to him and holds him by the collar of his shirt. Good, and for being late you have to take me out, said Kuritsuchi with a sickly sweet smile making him rapidly nod. Good and make sure it's somewhere nice, she said before releasing him and turning to look at her grandfather. Now that you two have done flirting it's time to talk business. Naruto I have a mission for you, but it's one not even you will take, said Onoki with a serious look. I'm sure I can do the mission old man. So what is it another suicide S rank or am I saving a country again? No nothing like that, I want you to accompany me to Konaha for the Chunin exams, said Onoki making Kurotsuki high scream in protest. No I refuse to let him go back there. Kurodachi be reasonable you know I wouldn't ask this if it wasn't important, said Onoki trying to reason with her. Nope not happening I won't let him, she said definingly making Onoki sigh knowing she was as stubborn as he was. I'll do it, said Naruto after think it over shocking the two. Really? What? The two shouted in surprise getting a small chuckle from the Iceman. I'll do it, he repeated. Excellent I'll begin preparations immediately, said Onoki who began to think who else would accompany him to the exams. Hold up old man, Naruto are you sure you said you never wanted to return there? Asked Kurodashi making sure her friend and not-so-secret crush was sure with this. I'm sure Kuro-chan I hold not hate for Konaha. I simply don't care about it or anyone there, answered Naruto making her nod with a small smile happy that he had forgotten about his old home. Good now that's settled we have a 1 week before the exams start competing for Iowa will be Team 6 consisting of Kurodachi, Akatsuchi and Yukari are most powerful genin team. Naruto and Han will be arriving after the month break between the second and third event with the other cages. Sounds good, now I need to go and find a hotel for a week see you two later, said Naruto as he was about to walk out the office until Kuritsuchi shouted in protest. You're not staying in some hotel you can stay with me I mean us, said a blushing Kuritsuchi hoping that he didn't catch her mistake. Luckily for her he didn't. Are you sure I don't want to impose? He asked making Onoki chuckle. It's fine my boy we have plenty of room, said Onoki. Hopefully with them under the same roof he will notice her feelings, thought Onoki mentally smiling at the thought of those two together. See Naruto-kun I told you, now come I'll show you there so you can get settled and remember you owe me dinner, warned Kuritsuchi with a mock glare. Sure Kuro-chan it's a date, said Naruto with an eye smile causing her cheeks to turn red from embarrassment getting a small chuckle from Onoki who noticed. Whatever now come on you have to go and unpack, she said as she walked off with a bit of extra sway in her hips. Following her not wanting to piss her of Onoki calls out to him, Naruto just one more thing, said Onoki. What's that old man? He asked. How does it feel to be whipped? Onoki said with a smirk pissing Naruto off. Why do people keep saying that I'm not whipped? Exclaimed Naruto. Hurry up Naruto. The two heard Kuritsuchi yelled from down the hall, coming. Naruto replied as he walked out the office trying to ignore Onoki making whipping sounds at him. Haha not even together and she has him wrapped around her finger, ought to be young again, Onoki uttered before getting back to his paperwork. Streets of Iowa. As the two walked towards Tsuchikage Manor Naruto couldn't help but notice all the looks they were getting. Is this normal Kuro-chan? He asked. For me yes since I'm the granddaughter of a cage, and remember you're famous to especially here after your last spar with Han and Roshi, said Kuritsuchi. Forgot about that, how are those two anyway? He asked. Pretty good. After you meet them they started opening up more and the people of Iowa now hold them in high regard especially Han since everyone who mistreated him feels incredible bad, said Kuritsuchi happy that those two were happy. That's good I'll have to go and see them whilst I'm here maybe have another spar, exclaimed a happy Naruto making Kuritsuchi giggle at his excitement. You can fight later, we're here, so go and unpack and be ready by 8 p.m, ordered Kuritsuchi. Yes ma'am, said Naruto with a salute before disappearing into the manor. TCH smart ass, she muttered with a small grin. 8 p.m. Naruto was nervous, very nervous. He had never been on a date before and his first was with Hokage's granddaughter, so if he fucked up he would know about it. Looking at him's elf in the mirror, he had to admit he looked good. He was wearing a dark blue suit with a matching waistcoat and tie with a white buttoned-up shirt underneath, along with black dress shoes and, of course, his ever-present face mask. Not bad, but I bet she wants me to take the mask off, Naruto thought to himself. Waiting for what felt like eternity. Have you ever waited for a woman to get ready? It's like watching paint dry. Naruto heard a familiar voice coming from the stairs. Well, don't you clean up nice? Turning around, Naruto's breath caught in his throat. Standing there was Kuritsuchi wearing a red dress with a slit on the right showing of her toned legs. You know, even with that annoying mask, flies might fly in there if you keep your mouth open like that, teased Kuritsuchi, snapping Naruto out of his shock. Sorry Kuro-chan, it's just that you look amazing, he said honestly, making her blush. So do you, Naruto-kun, even with that stupid mask, said Kuritsuchi, muttering the last bit. I like the mask, it adds mystery. Now come on, I have reservations at the Red Lily for 8:30, so let's go, said Naruto, offering her his arm, which she gladly took. Walking towards the restaurant in comfortable style. NCE, the two entered the restaurant, ignoring the looks from everyone. Walking up to the maitre d', who was a kind-looking man with a well-trimmed mustache. Table for two under Subzero, said Naruto, getting the man to smile. Ah yes, we have been expecting you, please follow me, sir, madam, said the man, who led them towards a private booth. Here we are, please look over the menu and I will send a waiter to come and take your order when ready. With that he walked off to tend to his other duties. Anything caught your eye? Asked Naruto, making Kuritsuchi look at him. Oh, one or two things, she replied. After ordering their food, the two began to have some light conversation. So Kuro-chan, you finally happy to become a chunin? Yeah, it's great, she exclaimed. The only reason I'm still Jenny N is because the old man wanted to wait until the chunin exam so that we can show I was power, said Kuritsuchi, not really caring about her rank. I thought it was something like that, since A is doing the same thing this year, said Naruto, making her smile. Great, that means there will be strong opponents, said Kuritsuchi. Continuing their meal, the two talked about what they had done since the last time they saw each other. Finishing their meal, the two left the restaurant and headed back to Onoki's manor. After walking in comfortable silence, the two got back to the manor and went inside. Then, KS for a wonderful night, Naruto-kun, said Kuritsuchi with a smile on I'm glad you enjoyed it, Kuro-chan, but I think it's time we call it a night, said Naruto, who was about to walk up the stairs until Uratsuchi pulled his arm and turned him around, confusing him. Kuro-chan, what's the matter? Before he knew it, she had pulled his mask down at the cheek and gave it a light kiss before pulling away. Thanks for dinner, Naru-kun, said Kuritsuchi before walking up the stairs and into her room, leaving a shocked Naruto behind. Getting out of his daze, Naruto walked up the stairs and into his temporary room and slept, knowing he would have to prepare before his newest mission. Yo, everyone, thanks for all the great reviews, it's nice to know people like my story. Speaking of reviews, it's time for some responses. Aquos Dragon. Mito has all of the Kyuubi power, but at the moment she just can't use it yet. Stratus 263. No need to apologize, dude, and you have to wait and see. Bankai 777. Yes, he will eventually fight Nagato. Unsen Musho. Haha, I'm glad you enjoyed the last chapter, hopefully you'll like this one too. Gold Testament. I'm sure she will understand. If not, Naruto has Kuro-chan to hide behind, or I mean help, yeah, help. And he did tell Mei his real name, it's just that no one really knew him before he became Subzero, so his name carries no real significance, and Kuro-chan didn't take any of Naruto's firsts, also hasn't seen his full face, only his cheek. Naruto Kushina. Mwahaha cough, sorry I had to let my evil out for a bit. I agree with you on having all the villages, but having too many girls ruins it, and could you deal with all of them? Imagine them all on their time of the month, or shudder if they were all pregnant, poor Naruto would die. Captain Moroni. You can thank Grammarly for my good grammar, it's an awesome app. Also, Team 6 apart from Kuritsuchi and their sensei doesn't know Subzero's real name. Well, that's it for the reviews, so let's get on with the story. Last time. Thanks. For a wonderful night, Naruto-kun, said Kuritsuchi with a smile on her beautiful face. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Kuro-chan, but I think it's time we call it a night, said Naruto, who was about to walk up the stairs until Kuritsuchi pulled his arm and turned him around, confusing him. Kuro-chan, what's the matter? Before he knew it, she had pulled his mask down at the cheek and gave it a light kiss. Before pulling away. Thanks for dinner, Naru-kun, said Kuritsuchi before walking up the stairs and into her room, leaving a shocked Naruto behind. Getting out of his daze, Naruto walked up the stairs and into his temporary room and slept, knowing he would have to prepare before his newest mission. 1 week later. It had been a week since Naruto had returned to Iwa and accepted Onoki's mission. Spending most of the week with Kuritsuchi, Naruto quite sad, since this was the day that she would leave for the Chunin exams with her team, which was her, Akatsuki and Yukari, with their sensei being Roshi, the Jinchuriki of the Four Tails, or as he liked to be called, Son Goku. Knowing that they wouldn't see each other for at least a week, Naruto had to promise to help train her during the month break. Somethi Ingi happily agreed with, but warned her that he couldn't teach her any jutsu since her elements were his polar opposites, his being wind and water and hers being fire and earth. Having already packed her stuff into storage scrolls, Kuritsuchi and Naruto made their way towards the gate. When they arrived, they noticed everyone there except Yukari. Walking closer, Akatsuki glares at Naruto, something that he was used to. Oi Gramp, sensei, where is Yukari? Asked Kuritsuchi, making Roshi sigh in annoyance. Yukari has broken her arm after attempting a jutsu last night, said Roshi, annoyed since he had told her not to try that jutsu yet. So are we canceling? She asked, her pink eyes staring at her grandfather almost like a warning. Unless we find someone that is around your age and powerful, then I won't needlessly risk the lives of our genin, said Onoki, making Kuritsuchi smirk. I know someone, he's my age, incredibly strong, very loyal, not to mention hot. Oh. And who is this person? Asked Onoki with a smirk, seeing where his granddaughter was going with this. Why, Subzero, of course, said Kuritsuchi like it was the most obvious thing in the world. What? Why me? Why him? Shouted Subzero and Akatsuki in protest. Well, he is strong, our age, knows our battle formations. Do I need to continue? Said Kuritsuchi, sending a glare at Akatsuki, who was about to argue, pretending he didn't see the glare. He protests. He can't enter the exams, he's not a ninja of Iwa, and even if he was, he's stronger than a genin, he said through gritted teeth, hating to admit Subzero was stronger than him. Thin king over what they both said, Onoki looks over to Subzero, who had stayed silent. What do you think, Gaki? I don't really care, but if I don't go, Kuro-chan won't get to compete, but if I do, I have to become a shinobi of Iwa, and that's something I really don't want to do, no offense, he said, missing the glare he got from Akatsuki when he said, Kuro-chan. None taken. I know you like your wandering lifestyle. And you don't have to be a ninja of Iwa to compete for us. We can just say we have an alliance with your clan, which we do. And since this is a different mission, you will be paid the equivalent of an S-rank mission, said Onoki, getting a smile from Naruto, Kuritsuchi and Roshi, and a scowl from Akatsuki, something they all noticed but didn't comment on. Agreeing with Onoki's idea, Team 6 and Subzero left towards Konaha. Maybe I should have told them about the team Kumo sent. Nah, it will be funny to watch. And with that, Onoki flew back to his office to make some preparations for later. Konaha. 1 day later. As Team 6 ran towards Konaha, Subzero felt an energy he hadn't felt in years. The Jinsei, it's been years since I have been so close to it, brings back memories, thought Subzero as he continued to run. Until an idea hit him. I should take it with me if the fools in this village find it. There is not telling what they would do to it. As they ran, Subzero felt the same feeling he was having the entire trip. Turning his head slightly, he saw Akatsuki trying to glare a hole in his head. I've never understood why that guy hates me so much. He seemed cool with me until he wanted to spar. And I kicked his ass. Mentally shrugging, he ignores the glare and continues running. Suddenly a sense of nostalgia as he saw the large gates of Konaha lowering their speed to make sure they aren't say. And as hostile Team 6 are stopped by the gate guards. Halt, state your business, said the guard with hair covering one eye, who Naruto recognized as Izumo. Stepping forward, Roshi was instantly recognized. As the two guards tensed slightly, my team and I are here for the Chunin Exams. Very well, I'll just need to see your passes. Nodding to the guard, all four pull out their passes. All was well until he looked over Subzero's pass. You're no Iowa shinobi, why are you here? Demanded Azuma whilst his fellow guard made a discreet hand sign warning the hidden Anbu. He is from a clan allied with Iowa, and since my team was a member short, he was allowed to join by order of Tsuchikage-sama, said Roshi, diffusing the situation. Looking over the pass one more time, Azuma hands it back and allows them into the village along with some directions to the Hokage Tower, sending another signal to the hidden Anbu to keep an eye on them. As Team 6 walked through the village, they drew a bit of attention from the civilians since it was rare to see foreign ninja inside the village. Ignoring the looks they got, the team walked towards the Hokage Tower. After a short walk, the team entered the Hokage Tower and Ted outside the Hokage's office since he was in a meeting. After a couple of minutes, some Jonin walked out. Subzero recognized them all from Asuma Sarutobi to Kurenai Yuhi, even Guy, but the one that oohed out the most was Kakashi Hatake, who saw him. Nice to see you again, copycat. Greeted Subzero with an eye smile. Something Kakashi returned, making Kakashi's colleagues go wide-eyed. Dear Kami, there's two of them. You too, Subzero? May I ask, with an Iowa team no less? He asked, noticing that Subzero didn't have a Hittite on him. My clan are allied to Iowa, and since this team was a member short, I agreed to fill it. He answered with another eye smile. Aren't you a bit too strong to be a genin? Asked Kakashi, whose hope of his team winning the exams just dropped to minus numbers. Well, I have no actual rank, only the one in the bingo book, but that's just to show how dangerous I am, said Subzero, confusing Kakashi's colleagues. Subzero was it. What do you mean bingo book? You're just a genin, right? Asked Kurenai, slightly worried since her team was in the exam. Well, in the bingo books I'm ranked as an A-rank Ronin, mercenary, and since I'm not part of any hidden village, I have no ninja. He NS word, seeing no problem with telling them since it was common knowledge. All the Jonin apart from Kakashi went wide-eyed in shock since he was the same age as their genin and was already so strong. Quote, if that's true, then why are you here for the Chunin exams? Asked Asuma, narrowing his eyes slightly. Sigh, if you would have listened earlier then you would already know that answer, said Subzero, making Asuma rub his head. Sheepishly, sorry, I was distracted, admitted Asuma, getting a raised eyebrow from Subzero. Yes, I saw, you were paying a lot of attention to Miss Yuhi's backside. I think I even saw a bit of drool, said Subzero, getting different reactions. Asuma went pale. Kakashi let out a small perverted giggle. Guy started shouting about youth, and Kurenai turned red with anger and slapped the pale Jonin, whilst Team 6 just stood there silently laughing to themselves. After composing themselves, Guy looked at Subzero with fire in his eyes. Yash, my youthful friend, your youthfulness is burning bright if you are so strong yet so young, shouted Guy, doing his patented good guy pose complete with sparkling teeth. However, Subzero wasn't paying attention. You say something, Guy? As Ked Subzero, making Kakashi look at him with pride. Kurenai and Asuma sweat dropped. Are they long-lost brothers? Guy, on the other hand, looked to the ground with his hair shadowing his eyes, thinking. He hurt his feeling. He was about to say sorry until Guy looked up with tears streaming down his face. Curse your hipness, Subzero, you and Kakashi will know the powers of youth, he exclaimed, making them all sweat drop. After getting the okay from the secretary, Team 6 said their goodbyes to the Jonin and went inside the Hokage's office. Hokage office. As they walked into the office, Subzero was thankful he had his mask, otherwise everyone would see a giant smirk on his face as he laid eyes on Minato Namakazi, who looked awful. His hair had lost its luster and started to turn gray. He had lots of WN marks and his eyes had massive bags under them. Looking over to he left, he saw that Kuritsuchi was struggling with two things. One was to launch a glob of lava at Minato and the other was to laugh ass off at the sight of the mess of a man. Even Roshi was trying to hide his smirk. Greets Hokage-sama, said Roshi with a bow which was copied by the rest of Team 6 inches. Hello to you, to Roshi-san. I ta. K, you and your team are here for the Chunin exams, said Minato with a smile, inwardly jumping for joy. With these exams we can capture foreign ninja without raising any suspicion, but with Onoki's granddaughter here we can finally get the lava release bloodline, he thought with a smirk. Yes, this is Team 6 consisting of Kuritsuchi, Akatsuchi, and Subzero. said Roshi, making Minato go wide-eyed as he looked at Subzero. So this is Subzero who Kakashi spoke so highly of. It's nice to meet you. I must thank you for helping Team 7 on their last mission, said Minato with a smile, but then his eyes turned serious. But I had been informed that you were a mercenary, not a ninja of Iwa. I'm not a ninja of Iwa, but my clan is allied with them, so I agreed to fill in the missing space on my team as the original member was injured, answered Subzero, making Minato mentally do backflips. An entire clan with his abilities, this is great. All I need to do is capture him and get him to tell me where his clan is based. Ah, I see, that is fine then. Now I hate to be a bad host, but I have much work to do with these exams going on, so please follow the Anbu member and she will show you where your hotel is. With a snap of his fingers, a female Anbu with a cat mask appeared and bowed to the Hokage. Following the Anbu out of the office, they didn't see Minato summon another Anbu, this one wearing a mask with "Ne" written on it. Streets of Konaha. Following the Anbu across the rooftop, Subzero sees a familiar food stand and decides to go and visit. Roshi, I'm going exploring, I'll see you all later, getting a nod from Roshi and a worried look from Kuritsuchi. Subzero heads towards the ramen stand, but before he gets there he hears shouting. Following the shouts he sees some very familiar people. Minutes earlier, Mito, Sayuri, and Kiba had just been told they were getting entered into the Chunin exams and were heading to Ichiraku's to celebrate when Kiba spots a weird box following them. Guys, why is there a box following us? Just ignore, it's just Konohamaru and his friends, said Mito with a small smile, but that quickly fades when the box explodes in smoke. Cough, you used too much gunpowder. As the smoke faded away, 3 kids were revealed, 2 boys and a girl. Whatever entrance time, I'm Konohamaru, future Hokage, said the boy with goggles on his forehead. I'm Moegi, the world's sassiest kunoichi, yelled the girl with pigtails. I'm Udon, I like maths, the kid with glasses mumbled. And together we are the Konohamaru Corp. They all shouted together in a weird stance, making Team 7 sweat drop. Getting out of their stance, Konohamaru goes to Mito and starts jumping up and down in excitement. Guess what, boss, I made a jutsu, you wanna see it? He exclaimed, making all of Team 7 curious. Sure. Ko-kun, show us. Nodding rapidly, Konohamaru goes through a couple of hand signs. Sexy jutsu, he shouted before being covered in a plume of smoke. When the smoke cleared, standing there was a beautiful naked brunette. Hello there, big boy, said the brunette with a wink towards Kiba. Not a second later, Kiba was blown back by a massive nosebleed. With another plum of smoke, the brunette turned back to Konohamaru, who was laughing. Ha ha ha, did you see that? Feeling a chill down his spine, he turns to see Mito and Sayuri with an evil aura surrounding them. Uh-oh. Quickly running, Konohamaru only got round the corner before he bumped into someone. Oi, you brat, that hurt, said a teen wearing a weird full-body suit with ears on the top of his head, but the strangest thing about him was his purple face paw. Hey, sorry about that, said Konohamaru, who was about to run off again until the teen picked him up by the scruff of his shirt. What kind of apology was that, you dumb brat? Maybe I should beat some manners into you. Kankuro, stop it, we don't have time for this, said a blonde teen with her hair in 4 consecutive ponytails and a massive folded fan on her back. Shut up, Tamari, this kid has it, Kami. Shouted Kankuro, who was about to punch the poor kid until Mito and Sayuri arrived. Hey, put Ko-kun down, you bastard, yelled Mito, making Kankuro smirk. And what are you going to do if I don't? Sud. NLY. A swirl of sand appeared, revealing a small red-haired boy with the kanji for love tattooed on his forehead and had a large gourd on his back. Kankuro, stop it, commanded the boy, making Kankuro sweet. Oh okay, Gaara. Dropping the boy, who quickly ran behind Mito and Sayuri and stuck his tongue out at Kankuro. With Konohamaru safe, Mito looks over the group and sees they all have Suna headbands. You are here for the Chunin exams. Present time. Gaara looks over the 2 kunoichis. Mother wants your blood, confusing Mito and Sayuri, who go wide-eyed as sand shoots out of his gourd and heads towards them. Not quick enough to dodge, they shut their eyes preparing for the pain, but out of nowhere a familiar voice was heard. My Gaara-chan, you haven't changed a bit, have you? Gaara went wide-eyed. Yet in fear, rapidly freeze. Looking around in fear, he spots Subzero sitting on the ledge of a building. Why are you here? Stay away. Stay away. Mother is afraid, screamed Gaara, holding his head in pain. That's not a very nice way to talk to a friend now, as Gaara said Subzero as he looks towards Konkuro and Temari who had frozen in fear. Hello you two, did you miss me? He asked, breaking them out of their shock. Why are you here? Stuttered Temari with fear in her eyes, making Subzero smirk. I'm here for the Chunin exams. I'm in a team with Iwa, so you better be careful, he said, making everyone there go wide-eyed. Why would you be in the Chunin exams? You're an A-rank Ronin, exclaimed a pale Konkuro, afraid he might have to fight the ice user. I owed Onoki a favor, that Kuro-chan asked me to join her team, said Subzero, missing Mito, and Sayuri's eyes narrow as he said Kuro-chan. And who is Kuro-chan? Asked Sayuri with slightly narrowed eyes. Kuro-chan is Kuritsuchi Onoki's nd daughter, answered Subzero, not noticing her and Mito's eyes narrow more. Anyway, Gaara, this is a warning, behave or I'll do what I did last time, warned Subzero, making Gaara, Temari, and Konkuro too pale more. Nodding their heads, the Suna team left to their hotel to warn Baki. Jumping down from the roof, Subzero looks to the ground and sees Konohamaru looking at him with starry eyes. That was so cool, mister. How's you freeze his sand? Can you teach me that? He asked rapidly. I can freeze sand due to my bloodline, and sorry Gaki, I can't teach you, I only teach my clan members and future children, said Subzero, getting a pout of disappointment from the boy, making him chuckle. Patting the boy on the head, Subzero turns and starts to walk away, but stops when he hears Mito shout, hey, you can't just leave. Turning around, he sees Mito and Sayuri jogging over to him, making raise an eyebrow. Is there something you need? You're damn right there is, you have to come with us, Datbeo, exclaimed Mi, but covered her mouth when she used her verbal tick, making Subzero and Sayuri sweat drop. Why do I need to go with you? He asked. This time, Sayuri spoke. After we returned from our mission, we told our Ka-chans about you and they want to meet you. Confusing Subzero. Why do they want to meet me? He asked, not really wanting to see his mother again. Don't know, after we told them what happened. They said they would like to meet you, said Mito. Thinking it over for a second, Subzero agrees and follows them to the Uchiha compound. After walking for a bit, they arrive at the compound. Subzero not Ices. It was nearly empty, only a few children running around and some civilians walking around. I didn't think the massacre would weaken them this much. Walking further, they reached the clan head's home. It was quite a large house with a traditional design. Walking inside, Mito shouts, Ka-chan, Auntie Makoto, we're back and we have a guest. A few seconds later, a voice Subzero recognized as Kushina Uzum Aki was heard. We're in here, Mito-chan. Following the voice, they find Kushina and Makoto sitting in a room drinking some tea. As Subzero looked at them, he had to say he was impressed. Both of them were about 40 and they looked 25. Makoto was a fair-skinned woman with long, straight black hair with bangs hanging on either side of her face, framing her cheeks and black eyes. She wore a Konaha Jonin uniform with a blue short-sleeved shirt and trousers with the flank jacket open and a pair of black shinobi sandals. Looking at Kushina, he saw why she was known for her beauty. She had fair skin and bright violet eyes, her long red hair done into a ponytail with two long bangs framing her face with a blue Konaha headband holding her fringe back. She was also wearing a short-sleeved shirt and trousers. Only hers were black, and over this she wore the Konaha flak jacket. Finishing her attire was a pair of blue shinobi sandals. Welcome back, Mito-chan, Sayuri-chan. She then looks towards Subzero. Who is your friends? She asked, making everyone sweat drop at how forgetful she was. Kushina, I believe this is Subzero, the mercenary that helped our daughters at Wave, said Makoto, smiling at Subzero. Hey, my bad, she said sheepishly whilst rubbing the back of her head. Your daughters tell me you wanted to meet me. Why? He asked with narrowed eyes. We wanted to thank you for helping our daughters, said Makoto, still smiling. That's not necessary, I was doing it for my own gain. Now if that is all, I shall be on my way, said Subzero, who turned around and started to walk towards the door until he heard Kushina shout, wait. I need to ask you some stuff. Sighing in annoyance, Subzero turns around and crosses his arms. Why should I answer your questions? Uzumaki-san. 'Cause I said so, Datbane, said Kushina, who blushed slightly at using her hated verbal tick. Not good enough, said Subzero, who turned and was about to walk out the door until a chakra chain wrapped around his chest. You're answering my questions, said Kushina, but was surprised when Subzero smirked. No, I'm not, and with that said he shattered into ice, revealing he was an ice clone. All the observers went wide-eyed not knowing. They were talking to a clone the entire time. Looks like he got away, Kushina, said Makoto, whose sweat dropped when she saw her friend run out the door shouting about finding the ice bastard. Her sweet tea drop grew as Mito chased after her mother shouting about teaching her a lesson. Makoto looked at her daughter to see she had an irritated look on her face. We sure do pick our friends, don't we, Sayuri-chan? Yeah, sometimes I wonder who's more crazy, them for all the stuff they do or us for being their friends, said Sayuri, making her mother giggle. Come on, Sayuri-chan, we should probably go save your boyfriend, said Makoto, making Sayuri blush. He's not my boyfriend, she shouted in denial, gaining another giggle from Makoto. Oh fiancé, you sure do move fast, Sayuri-chan, said Makoto before running ahead, making Sayuri's face match the Uzumaki's hair. Ka-chan, shouted Sayuri as she ran after her mother. Streets of Konaha. As Subzero walked back to his hotel, the familiar ramen stand caught his eye. Feeling hungry, he walks over and sits on a stool. Waiting a minute, an old man comes out. Welcome to Ichiraku's ramen, what would you like? Asked the man with a smile, thinking it over for a second. I'll have 4 bowls of miso ramen, said Subzero, who laughed as the old man had Ryo signs in his eyes. Haha, another ramen lover, I'll get right on it, said the old man, who walked over to the kitchen and started to cook the order. Whilst the old man was cooking, a voice came out from the back of the stand. "To-san, I'm back," shouted a voice as the door to the back opened. A cute brunette woman was standing there. Great timing, Ayame, could you give this to the man over there, said the old man, passing her a large bowl of ramen. Bringing the bowl over, Ayame sees Sub-Zero's mask and wondered what he looked like without it. Here you go, sir, she said with a smile. Thank you, itadakimasu, said Sub-Zero, who noticed the woman was staring at him as if waiting for something. Not seeing the problem with letting the girl look, he pulled down his mask and started to eat. Oh my Kami, Ayame mentally screamed as she stared at Sub-Zero's handsome face with hearts in her eyes. Even her father had a blush on his face. Finishing his meal, Sub-Zero pulled up his mask, much to Ayame's disappointment, and left, heading back to his hotel to rest for the exams tomorrow. Finishing his meal, Sub-Zero pulled up his mask. Much to Ayame's disappointment, he left, heading to his hotel to rest for the exams tomorrow. After arriving, Naruto found Kuritsuchi asleep on the sofa. She must have waited for me. Picking her up in a princess style, she snuggles into his chest, getting him to lightly chuckle. Bringing her to his room, he lays her on the bed and tucks her in and kisses her forehead. Night, Kuro-chan, whispered Sub-Zero before he left the room and went into his own and slept, hoping something exciting happens tomorrow. Next day, after waking up, showering and changing, Naruto was greeted by an angry Kuri's room. Where were you? She demanded with anger and worry in her eyes. I ran into some old friends and had a nice chat, then I got dragged to the Uchiha compound to talk to Makoto and Kushina, he answered, making her go red with anger. You actually talked to that bitch? Why? She shouted, not liking that Naruto would talk to those bastards. I told you back in Iwa I don't hate anyone in Konaha apart from maybe Minato. And I wouldn't say talked, more like they thanked me and then I left, said Naruto, leaving out Kushina, tying him in chakra chains. I still don't like them, said Kuritsuchi with a scowl, making him sigh. I know, but let's just forget about them, okay? Yeah, okay, but if they try anything I'm going to melt them, she said with a smirk. Leaving his room, Kuritsuchi find Akatsuchi and Roshi eating Brea. Fast joining them, the 4 eat their food quickly and Team 6 toward the academy, whilst Roshi goes towards the Jonin lounge. When they got to the academy, they find their way to a large room filled with genin from all over the element nations. Ignoring them all, Team 6 head towards the stairs and see a girl with buns in her hair and a mini guy arguing with 2 ninjas standing by the stairs. Not in any rush, they watch. Please let us go up, begged the girl, but her pleas fell on deaf ears as one of the ninjas went to punch her, only for the mini guy to catch it easily. That was very unyouthful of you, said mini guy, only to be hit on the back of his head by the girl with buns in her hair. Lee, you idiot, it was your idea to hide our strength. Sorry, 10-10, mumbled the now named Lee. It's okay, Lee, at least you tried to help, unlike Neji, said 10-10, making Lee smile. Looking around, they see their third teammate Neji walking towards them. And where have you been? Demanded Tenten, crossing Her arms and tapping her foot on the ground. I was scouting out our competition. He answered, making Lee grin. What a fantastic idea, my youthful teammate, your flames of youth are burning brightly, excla. I ammed Lee, making 10-10 sweat drop before looking at her other teammate. Did you find anyone worth worrying about? She asked. It doesn't matter, we are fated to win, said Neji with an aura of arrogance around him. Shaking her head at her arrogant teammate, Tenten takes another look around the room and spots a team of Iowa Nin, but one stood out the most. He had snow-white hair with icy blue highlight. He wore a pair of black steel-toed combat boots with black combat trousers with an ice blue belt with the Lin Kuei symbol on it. For his upper body he wore a tight sleeveless black shirt showing off his defined muscle. Over this an ice blue short-sleeved trench coat, and to finish of his outfit he wore a blue face mask. As 10-10 stared at the teen, she felt a chill go down her spine. Looking to left of the white-haired teen she saw another teen with black hair and pink eyes glaring at her. Not caring about the glare, Tenten and her teammates walk over there. Hi, I'm Tenten and these are my teammates Neji and Lee, greeted Tenten with a smile. Hello 10-10, I'm Subzero and these are my temporary teammates Kuritsuchi and Akatsuchi, said Subzero, confusing Team 10 inches temporary. Why are you leave? Asked Tenten. I'm not an Iowa Nin, my clan is allied with Iowa and this team needed a replacement, so Noki called me in, said Subzero with an eye smile. Now I don't want to look antisocial, but I think we should get to the exam area, he said as he and his team walked away. He seemed nice, said Tenten, getting a nod of agreement from Lee. Yes, he seems very youthful. It doesn't matter, he is fated lose, said Neji, annoying his teammates. Third floor. What was that? Exclaimed Kuritsuchi as they walked to the end of the corridor. What was what? Asked the confused Subzero. You talking to that girl? Said Kuritsuchi with jealousy in her eyes. I was just being polite, Kuro-chan, nothing more. Good, keep it that way, ordered Kuritsuchi with narrowed eyes. Reaching the end of the corridor, Team X opened the door and are immediately greeted by a wave of weak Ki. I'll show you really killing intent, said Subzero, unleashing a quarter of his Ki, making some of the weaker genin pass out and the others pale. Weaklings. Still as cool as every ice-kun, said a voice, turning around. Naruto pale standing there was a fair-skinned teen. She has blue eyes and straight, blonde hair framing her face, cut in an asymmetrical bob style with the front bangs reaching her shoulders. She wears a very low-cut outfit which displays her sizable cleavage, with mesh armor underneath, a short skirt and red hand guards. High boots with a white girdle. Gulp. Hey Samui-chan. You have some explaining to do, Ice-kun. Well, what do you think? I have a couple of things to say. First, I will use a couple of things from One Piece. Don't worry, it's not anything like a devil fruit or a person, it's just a couple of moves used by Aokiji since he uses ice. Second, I apologize for the lack of action so far, that will change next chapter. Harem. Kuritsuchi, Anko, Makoto, Kushina, Mito, Sayuri. Tsunami? Possible Samui, Konan, make her an eye. Don't forget to review. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this chapter. Until next time. Yo everyone. Sorry about the long wait, I was busy with stuff, school, work, social life, writing other stories. Anyway, time for some review responses. Bluckmage 19R2. The reason he keeps saying he is a temporary member is because he isn't a member of Iowa and doesn't want people to think he is, since is a mercenary that would lose him work. Necrorex Sparta Jubi no Kishin. The Jinsei holds Earth's life force in Mortal Kombat. Lord Demolitions. I put up a poll for people to vote who they wanted and Kushina was at the top. Plums. I plan on mixing the Chunin exams up a bit, but it's kinda hard to change it massively. And Minato was the cause of all of Naruto's pain, so of course he hates him. He is just neutral to the others but will still kill them if they piss him off. Naruto Kushina. You have to remember she was a child back then and children copy their parents, so when she saw Kushina and Minato ignore, insult and neglect Naruto, she copied those actions not knowing they were bad since everyone did it. Animaman. This won't be a massive harem since if think that takes away the plot of the story and you will have to wait and see about the Sanin. Oh, and another thing, I have decided to add Samui as the last member of the harem. Sorry if your choices weren't on there. By hey, you can still enjoy the again I can't read stories that have Sakura or Hinata as a pairing since I find it boring. Oh, if you decide to stop reading I will understand. Now let's start, shall we? Last time. What was that? Exclaimed Kuritsuchi as they walked to the end of the corridor. What was what? Asked the confused Subzero. You talking to that girl? Said Kuritsuchi with jealousy in her eyes. I was just being polite, Kuro-chan, nothing more. Good, keep it that way, ordered Kuritsuchi with narrowed eyes. Reachin'. The end of the corridor. Team 6 opened the door and are immediately greeted by a wave of weak Ki. I'll show you really killing intent, said Subzero, unleashing a quarter of his Ki, making some the weaker genin pass out and the others pale. Weaklings. Still as cool as every ice-kun, said a voice, turning around. Naruto pale standing there was a fair-skinned teen. She has blue eyes and straight blonde hair framing her face, cut in an asymmetrical bob style with the front bangs reaching her shoulders. She wears a very low-cut outfit which displays her sizable cleavage, with mesh armor underneath. A short skirt and red hand guards, high boots with a white girdle. Gulp. Hey Samui-chan. You have some explaining to do, Ice-kun. Kuritsuchi looked between Subzero and the blonde Wi. A frown before looking at Subzero with narrowed eyes. Who the hell is she and why is she calling you Ice-kun? She demanded. Oh right, you don't know each other. Kuro-chan meet Samui-chan, Samui-chan meet Kuro-chan, said Subzero, introducing the two kunoichis. And how do you know her? Asked Kudosaki. She is one of Killer B's students along. We meet Samui-chan when I had my regular spar with B. Speaking of them, where are they? I don't see them anywhere, asked Subzero, looking around the room and seeing no one else from Kumo. Omoi went on another of his normal rants. This time, it was about the 4th Hokage using the Chunin to kidnap people from other villages or something like that. It was really uncool, so Karui hit him, causing him to bleed, so they went to patch him up, said Samui in her normal cool tone. For some reason unknown to him, Subzero got a foreboding feeling. As he took one last look around, Subzero sees some familiar genins talking to a man with glasses. Curious. He walks over, leaving the two girls to talk about whatever girls talk about. Seriously, the girls I know talk about some weird stuff. So, Kuro-chan, I assume your name is Kuritsuchi, granddaughter to the current Tsuchikage? Asked Samui with a blank look. That's right, I am. Why? Said Kuritsuchi with a glare. Nothing, Kuritsuchi-san, I just want to know more about my rival, said Samui, confusing Kuritsuchi. How the hell am I your rival? I just meet you, demanded Kuritsuchi. I see the way you look at Ice-kun, but you won't have him since he is mine and it's uncool to steal, said Samui in her cool tone. Kuritsuchi was fuming. How dare this blonde bimbo try and steal her man? Quickly thinking of something, Kuritsuchi smirks at the idea that pops into her head. He isn't your man, he's mine, I bet. You don't even know his real name or what his face looks like I do, bluffed Kuritsuchi, as she had never seen the Icer user's face before. I know more than you think, Kuritsuchi-san, said Samui, cryptically, who was about to continue when she sees her team walk in. My team has just returned. It was nice to meet you, Kuritsuchi-san, but from now on we are rivals, said Samui before she walked off towards her teammates, leaving an angry Kuritsuchi behind. Meanwhile, with Subzero, man, I'm so glad I got away from them. Don't know why, but I get the feeling they don't like each other. I think I saw lighting shoot between them, but I could just be imagining things. Shaking his head of the thoughts, he continued towards the familiar genins, which were Team 7 and Team 9 along with some other genin he didn't recognize, who were talking to an older genin with glasses. Moving a bit closer, Naruto was able to hear what they were talking about and decided to listen in. Do you have any information on Gaara from Suna and Subzero, a mercenary? Asked Sayuri, getting a nod from the glasses-wearing genin. Since you know their names it makes thing easier. Let's see. Here we go. First up, Gaara. For the sand, a genin from Suna can control sand to a frightening degree and has completed 0D rank missions, 12 C rank missions, 6 rank missions, and wow, he has done 3 A rank missions. What? How can a genin have a mission record like that? Yelled Mito, since her team barely survived an A rank mission. That's not the most amazing part. During all but one mission he hasn't got a single injury, not even a scratch. But the time he was injured he was apparently near death's door. Alright, what about Subzero? Asked Sayuri, wanting to know more about the guy that saved her team. Let's see, there is his basic information in the bingo book, but let's see what else I have. Here we go. His name is unknown, only going by Subzero. His country of origin is also unknown, but it's speculated he comes from Yukigakure. His skills mainly lie in ninjutsu and taijutsu, but is also very skilled when it comes to the other ninja arts. His mission record is astounding with 0D rank 32, C rank 44, B rank 22, A rank, and finally 14S rank that keeps growing as his skills are in high demand from some of the minor nations and a couple large nations, mainly Kumo and Iwa, since he seems to be friends with both cages. Phi. Nishid Kabuto, sweating slightly at the thought of fighting someone like that. He wasn't the only one. Team 7 knew most of that stuff already but was still shocked at a number of missions. Team 10 were silent. Even Fate's bitch was silent, not very confident that he could beat someone like that. Lee had fire in his eyes and Tenten was in a daydreaming involving her, him and a load of weapons. Team 8, which consisted of he wasn't the only one. Team 7 knew most of that stuff already but was still shocked at a number of missions. Team 10 were silent. Even Fate's bitch was silent, not very confident that he could beat someone like that. Lee had fire in his eyes and Tenten was in a daydreaming involving her, him and a load of weapons. Team 8, which consisted of Shino Aburame, Hinata Hyuga, and Yakumo K. Arama, stood in shock and fear since this guy was in this exam. Team 10 made up of Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka and Choji Akamichi, who were as shocked as the others, proved by the full bag of crisps that had been dropped by Choji. And this guy is in the exam, man. This just got more troublesome. Maybe if we back out now I could spend the rest of the day watching the clouds, said Shikamaru, expecting Ino to argue, but to his shock, she looked ready to agree. Hey, Kabuto, do you have a card of someone called Kuro-chan? Asked Mito with a slight scowl. That's pretty difficult since that's a nickname. Do you know where she is from? Most likely from Iowa, said Sayuri, who also had a scowl. That narrows it down a bit. Let's see. Shuffling through his cards he picks out one. This is her Karat. Tsuchi, a genin of Iowa and granddaughter to Onoki the Tsuchikage, said Kabuto, making both Team 7 kunoichis smirk. They had their target. What information have you got on her? Asked Sayuri, making the other wonder why the two were so interested. Let's see. She has a lot of skill with fire and earth release jutsu, but is known for her bloodline, the lava release, which she is very deadly with, along with that her sensei is then Jinchuriki of the Four Tails. One of the reasons she is so good with her lava release is, a side fact, is that she is close friends with the mercenary Subzero, said Kabuto Maki. A mental note to not attack Kuritsuchi if Subzero was around. Subzero, who was still watching, found it odd that they would ask about Kuritsuchi but chalked it up as trying to find his weakness. Bored of just watching, Subzero walks cover to the group, making sure he wasn't noticed. This made all of them jump in fright. Turning, they all see Subzero standing there, making them pale. Most of my information is easy to get, so there is not need to ask him, he said, pointing at Kabuto. With that said, Subzero walks away towards Kuritsuchi, who was trying to ignore Akatsuchi's flirting. Having fun, you two, said Subzero with amusement clear in his voice, getting two glares, one from Kuritsuchi for not help her and one from Akatsuchi for interrupting his sweet pickup line. Shut up, CE bastard, and leave me and Tsuchi-chan alone, demanded Akatsuchi, putting his arm around her, making Kuritsuchi turn a sickly green color, something Subzero noticed but Akatsuchi didn't. Akatsuchi, back. Get your arm off me before I melt your arm off, said Kuritsuchi through gritted teeth, trying not to kill her idiot of a teammate. Oh okay Tsuchi-chan, I get it, we are in the Chunin exams, gotta stay focused. This isn't the time for anything intimate, said Akatsuki, making Kuritsuchi go greener, and was about to hit him but stopped when a chill went down her spine. Turning, she sees Subzero glaring at Akatsuchi with eyes so cold mist started to come off them. Listen here, you fat sack of shit, you touch her without her permission again, I'll freeze you and then let her melt you, do you understand? Trying to act tough, Akatsuchi gave a small grunt and tried to walk off but couldn't thanks to his shaking knees, so he stayed put and tried to hide his fear. After that, Team 6 spent their time in silent CE as they analyzed the groups to see if anyone was a threat, but after several minutes, a poof of smoke appeared, revealing a large man in black with looks of scars on his face. All right, maggots, I am Ibiki, the first proctor of these exams, so get your asses in a seat. The first test is about to begin. Getting to a seat at T down, getting a loud eep from the girl next to him, ignoring the frightened girl. Subzero waits for the test to start. Alright maggots, in front of you is a test. To pass this you must answer as many questions as you can, and at the end the teams will pass on the total scores of their members. And finally, if you are caught cheating more than 2 times you're out. Now you have an hour, let the test begin. Shouted Ibiki, making the Chunin hopefuls start their tests. Subzero, on the other hand, didn't even bother to lift his pencil. Instead he decided to open his senses and was annoyed at what he sensed. Hidden around the room were 10 ninja that he knew shouldn't be there. No. About to start an international incident, he decides to take a nap, keeping his guard open just in case. 50 minutes later, Subzero was happily sleeping on his desk, still only for his desk to be kicked. Lazily looking up, he sees Ibiki glaring at him. Wake up, maggot. If you're not going to do your test, just leave now, said Ibiki, only to get a raised eyebrow. So if I finish this test I can go back to my nap. Getting a nod, Subzero stands up, gaining everyone's attention. Walking over to a hidden Chunin, he smashes the man's head on the desk, knocking him out, and quickly taking his paper and went back to his seat and erases the old name and put his, "They're done now, I'm going back to my nap." What the hell was that? Demanded Ibiki, but on the inside was laughing at the balls this guy had. What NLY got caught cheating once, so what's the problem? He asked. Fine, but anyone else that tries that is getting kicked out, said Ibiki. Looking around he sees everyone looking at Subzero like a god. Back to work, maggots, shouted Ibiki, making all of the genin go back to writing. After another 10 minutes, Ibiki calls for the test to end. Now then, time for the last question, announced Ibiki, getting many reactions from the genin, none of them good. What do you mean last question? Shouted a genin from Kiri. It is just as I said, there is one last question, but this one you can choose to answer. Why wouldn't we answer it? Asked Tamari with a frown. Because if you get this question wrong then you fail and you will never get promoted. Never, said Ibiki, dropping the metaphoric bomb. What? Nearly the whole room shouted in disbelief. But if you don't want to take the risk, the door is there, the choice is yours. Immediately people started to leave the room until there were only 36 people. Fort, anyone else want to leave? This is your last chance, said Ibiki. No one moved, making him smile. Congratulations, you all pass. What about the 10th question? Yelled Mito. It was a test to see if would do anything to complete your mission, that and it was a test to see your information gathering skill, which is essential for Chunin, otherwise things like this happen, said Ibiki as he took off his bandana, showing them all how heavily scarred his head was. Redoing his bandana, Ibiki looks into everyone's eyes. But remember, sometimes information is unreliable, so trust your instincts as well as information. Before he could go on, a black blur broke through the window, unraveling to form a sign that read, "The sexy and single Mitarashi Anko II Proctor," and true to the sign a woman dressed in a fishnet suit with a mini skirt and trench coat appeared at the front of the room. "Hello Gakis, I'm the sexy and single Mitarashi Anko II Proctor," exclaimed Anko. "You're early, Anko," said Ibiki, moving out from behind the banner, making Anko blush in embarrassment. "Anyway, you're losing your touch, Ibiki. There are look left." Suddenly she gained a sadistic smirk. "But by the time I'm done with them, the will be half the amount," she said, making some genins pale. "Alright, meet me at training ground 44 in 10 minutes or you're disqualified." And with that, Anko jumped out of the broken window. Meeting his team and getting scolded by Kuritsuchi, Subzero showed them the way to the Forest of Death, since he basically used to live there. Training ground 44 Aka, the Forest of Death. Arriving at the forest, Kuritsuchi and Akatsuchi stared at the forest, Akatsuchi in awe at its size and Kuritsuchi in horror, since Naruto never explained to her what the forest was like, only that he lived there. He lived here at such a young age, damn his family, thought Kuritsuchi. Walking towards the gate, they see Anko sitting on a chair eating dango with a happy expression on her face. "Ah, this hits the spot. I should have about 6 minutes before they show up, so plenty of time to enjoy the food of Kami." Feeling like having fun, Subzero sneaks up behind Anko. "Sorry to burst your bubble, Anko-san, but we decided to arrive early," said Subzero, surprising her, making Anko start to choke on her dango. "Cough, damn it Gaki, you should wear a bell," shouted Anko, only for a look of horror to appear on her face as he realized she had dropped her dango on the floor. Sadness quickly turned to anger as she pulled out a kunai, getting ready to attack Subzero with it. "Well Gaki, any last words?" Sorry about the dango. Anko-san, I'll buy you some more after the exam, said Subzero, not wanting to face the women's wrath. Quicker than even the Hiraishin, Anko put the kunai away. Agreed Gaki, but you better pay up or else, warned Anko, leaving the threat hanging. Waiting a couple more minutes, the other genin finally made it to the training ground. About time you brats got here, said Anko, making the genin sweat drop since she never told them where the training ground was. Now I will explain the rules. Each team will get a scroll, either a heaven or an earth scroll. You'll need both scrolls to enter the tower in the middle of the forest. You have 5 days to accomplish this. Any questions? What about food? Asked a frantic Choji, since he only had enough food with him to last 3 days. The forest is full of edible things. Anyone else no good? Now I will paste these sheets around, so fill them in, said Anko, passing a paper to everyone, most going pale as they read the title Death Waiver. What the hell is this? Asked Omoi. Why, it's a death waiver to cover our asses in case one of you bites the dust in there, so hurry up and get signing, and when you're done, each team will come over here and pick up a scroll, she ordered. A minute later, every form was signed and each team had a scroll. Well, looks like everyone is ready, so let the second examination begin. And that's it for now. So what did you think? Oh, and in case, you all have forgotten, Sakura is not a ninja in this FIC, since in canon she became one to impress Sasuke and he doesn't exist. I have mentioned this in a past chapter, I'm just making sure. Harem final: Anko, Kuritsuchi, Makoto, Kushina, Mito, Sayuri, Tsunami, Samui. This is the complete harem, unless I say otherwise. Sorry if your favorite character isn't in it, but hey, you can still enjoy the story, right? Anyway, that's all from me, so peace out. Yo, everyone. Sorry about the long wait, I've had some major family issues to deal with. As normal, we have a couple review responses. Animaman. There will be a PLE of flashbacks later on about how Kushina dealt with Minato. Also, I didn't want to add any Mortal Kombat girls since I really don't know their characteristics very well, but I will give some of their abilities to people. Unsen Musho. I do admit I like Tenten since she was the only female rookie that actually cared about their career. But unless I see fit, then no one else will be added to the harem, but hey, you never know. Bluckmage 19R2. Why would Naruto care about some random people quitting an exam he doesn't care about? Plums. It's kind of hard to change up the Chunin exams until they get the forest, since the first test is a written test and I didn't want to change that since it was a way to introduce Anko. Megacdre 100. Nope, she was never in the harem, only an option to be voted for. Guessed, you know who you are. Yeah, that does happen sometimes, not sure why. Well, that's it for the review answers. I don't think I have anything else to add, so let's get on with the story. About time you brats got here, said Anko, making the genin sweat drop since she never told them where the TRW. I will explain the rules. Each team will get a scroll, either a heaven or an earth scroll. You'll need scrolls to enter the tower in the middle of the forest. You have 5 days to accomplish this. Any questions? What about food? Asked a frantic Choji, since he only had enough food with him to last 3 days. The forest is full of edible things. Anyone else no good? Now I will paste these sheets around, so fill them in, said Anko, passing a paper to everyone, most going pale as they read the title Death Waiver. What the hell is this? Asked Omoi. Why, it's a death waiver to cover our asses in case one of you bites the dust in there, so hurry up and get signing, and when you're done each team will come over here and pick up a scroll, she ordered. A minute later, every form was signed and each team had a scroll. Well, looks like everyone is ready, so let the second examination begin. And like lightning, Uri team sprinted into the deadly forest, leaving a smirking Anko standing there. You better survive, brat, you owe me. Dango. Suddenly out of nowhere, a falcon-masked Anbu appeared. Anko-san, we found Song. Anything you need to see? Nodding, Anko follows the Anbu, trying to ignore the feeling in her stomach. With Team 6 having sprinted into the forest, Team 6 take a small break and start to plan. Okay, Kuro-chan. Akatsuchi, I have a plan, so listen up. Before he could continue, Akatsuchi started to yell. Who voted you team leader? I should lead this team since I've been on it longer. He yelled, only to be hit in the head by a fist of Kuritsuchi. Will you shut up? Your shouting is going to get us found, and Subzero-kun has been a ninja longer than both of us, so he has more experience, whispered Kuritsuchi in an annoyed tone. As I was saying, if we head towards the tower now, we can set up traps and ambush teams, that way we don't have to worry about getting the right scroll since they'll have both. Sigh. Subzero getting nods from the both of them. Quickly jumping into the trees, the three head towards the tower at a fast pace. As Team 6 traveled, Subzero felt chakra signatures start to disappear all over the forest. Strange, I sense chakra signatures heading away from the forest, but also more entering. What's going on around here? Kuro-chan, stay on alert, I have a feeling something is going to happen soon. Subzero warned, making Akatsuchi scoff. Don't listen to that walking freezer, Suchi-chan, I'll protect you from anything, said Akatsuchi with a charming smile. I don't need protecting. Sigh. Kudosaki with a scowl whilst thinking. Especially from a fat tub of lard like you. Of course, Suchi-chan, I know you're strong, but just in case I'll be your knight in shining armor, said Akatsu. Kai, making Kuritsuchi turn green as she pictured Akatsuchi wearing medieval knight armor that looked ready to burst with his stomach overflowing from the top. Seeing her expression, Subzero silently chuckled, earning a glare from her. Looks like I have nothing to worry about, Kuro-chan, you have your shining knight to save you, said Subzero with a smirk. Shut up. Yeah, ice for brains. Just because. Say you're jealous of mine and Suchi-chan's love doesn't mean you have to tease her, yelled Akatsuchi, making the poor girl turn even greener. Akatsuchi, said Kuritsuchi, making the boy look at her with a smile. Yes, Suchi-chan. If you ever say that again, I'll melt your balls off, warned Kuritsuchi with a glare that would scare a demon. Oh, of course, Suchi-chan, stuttered a terrified Akatsuchi. The rest of the journey was uneventful as they avoided all of the other teams running around the forest, making it to the tower easily. All right, time to set up some traps, but try not to go too overboard, said Subzero, looking directly at Kuritsuchi. Like you're one to talk, she mumbled. Following his orders, the two original members of Team 6 got to work planting different traps around the area, making sure that no one would notice them before it was too late. Subzero-kun, we're done, though I had to rescue Akatsuchi when he managed to get caught in one of his own traps. But Suchi-chan, that was the only time that ever happened. I promise it won't ever happen again, whined Akatsuchi. What about the time in Snow Country or the time in Vegetable Country, and let's not forget the time in Rice Count. Right, said Kuritsuchi with a deadpan stare, making Akatsuchi blush in embarrassment. Enough of Akatsuchi's incompetence, we need to stay alert, said Subzero, but even with his mask, you could tell he was smirking at the red-faced shinobi. After hiding for 20 minutes, Akatsuchi looked ready to scream in frustration. Why are we just waiting here? We should be trying to find some other teams, exclaimed Akatsuchi. Shut up and get back in cover, Akatsuchi, before I melt you, threatened Kuritsuchi. Not wanting to piss her off, Akatsuchi went to go back into hiding, but before he could make it, Subzero dove out from his hiding place and pushed him out of the way. Picking himself up, Akatsuchi glared at Subzero. Oi, what was, but stopped himself when he saw 4 kunai embedded into the floor. We're not alone, I can sense 5 chakra signatures and more on the way, so get ready, ordered Subzero, who formed to ice commas and got into his dragon's talons stance. Listening to Subzero, Kuritsuchi got into a defensive stance and Akatsuchi prepared a jutsu. From the trees above them, 5 shinobi in wearing Anbu armor and masks appeared. Surrender the ice and lava users, demanded a leader in a monotone voice. You can have the ice, bastard, but you leave Suchi-chan alone, said Akatsuchi. Wow, and here I thought we were friends. Of course, Subzero said sarcastically. This is your last warning, surrender your bloodline users or die. Here's my answer, ash stone sealing technique, shouted Kuritsuchi, spewing a large cloud of ash out of her mouth, which quickly wrapped around the 5 shinobi and hardened, trapping them within the hard ash. Suchi-chan is amazing, those guys didn't stand a chance, praised Akatsuchi. It's not over, said Subzero, still holding his ice commas. Such it snowflake, you're just loose of Suchi-chan's amazing skills. Shut up, Akatsuchi, Subzero-kun is right, they escaped. I knew that, Suchi-chan, I was just testing to see if he could tell, stuttered Akatsuchi. Of course, you did, rock for brains. Just keep your eyes open, said Kuritsuchi. No need, Kuro-chan, they are above us waiting to make their move, but it will be too late for them, said Subzero as he let go of his commas, making them shatter on the ground. What are you talking about? We need to attack them, yelled Akatsuchi who ran as fast a nearby tree as fast as he could. Shaking his head, Subzero starts to count down, confusing Kuritsuchi. 3, 2, 1. What the hell? The two on the ground watched as Akatsuchi ran back down the tree with a shocked look on his face. What did you do? He demanded. I've had a squad of ice clones following us since the beginning of this exam just to make sure, Subzero answered. Well, they did a terrible job, otherwise we would never have seen that squad. No, they did as was intended. To be lookouts and if necessary take out any threats. The clones saw the squad and acted accordingly, waiting in the shadows for the perfect moment, explained Subzero. TCH whatever, let's just find another squad for a scroll. Just as they were about to run off, a clone of Subzero appeared holding 3 scrolls, passing them to the original. The clone disappeared back into the trees. Seems that Anbu squad took some others before coming after us and took their scrolls to look less suspicious. Pretty lucky first, but I wonder who they took. There aren't that many villages that will risk sending missing ninja with bloodlines to events like this unless they are trying to prove their strength, said Subzero as he put away the scrolls. Well, it doesn't matter now, let's just head towards the tower. Chi shouldn't take us long since we are pretty close, said Kuritsuchi. That blonde bimbo better make it to the next part of the exam. I want to kick her ass. Agreed. Let's get moving, said Subzero. After 10 minutes of running, Team 6 made it to the tower when they all chakra that made them all feel slightly sick. What was that? Asked Kuritsuchi. It felt like chakra but darker, said Akatsuchi. That's because it was chakra-tainted chakra to be specific, and I only know one thing that can do that, said Subzero, who went wide-eyed and quickly sprinted towards the source of the vile chakra, leaving his teammates to stand there in confusion. Well, that was weird, but now he's gone, we can finally have some alone time, right, Tsuchi-chan? Not a chance in hell. We're heading to the tower. Vile chakra location. Sayuri-chan, stop it, you've won, you don't have to kill them, yelled Mito as she and Kiba looked on as their teammate and friend brutally beat the team from sound until there was only one member left standing. You were awfully proud of these arms, wonder how you would feel with them broken, said a crazed Sayuri with a black flame-like tattoo spread across her face. Please stop, you can Avenue our scroll and we will leave, I swear, pleaded the ninja, but his pleas fell on deaf ears as Sayuri put more pressure on his arms, getting ready to snap them. Please no, begged the sound ninja. Sayuri, stop it, yelled both Kiba and Mito. No, they attacked us, I'm making sure they don't try it again. And with that said, Sayuri tried to snap his arms only for her not to be able to move her own. What is this? She demanded. That would be yours truly, Uchiha, said a voice Team 7 recognized as Subzero. Let me go, Subzero, they deserved what's coming to them, yelled Sayuri with a crazed grin, making Subzero shake his head in disappointment. I'm disappointed, Sayuri, I had hoped you had enough will and common sense not to use that mark, turns out I was wrong, oh well, he finished with a shrug, making the nun-crazed members of Team 7 to sweat drop at his nonchalant attitude. I demand you let me go, yelled Sayuri as she tried to break her bonds but with no success. You can demand all you want, it's not going to happen until I've dealt with your little hickey, said Subzero before he disappeared and reappeared in front of Sayuri. May heaven's seal, I can't remove it at the moment, but I can seal it off with a jutsu I modified extreme evil sealing method, said Subzero as he held his hand on the cursed seal and watched in satisfaction as it was sealed off. When the seal was completely sealed off, Sayuri fainted from exhaustion, much to the concern of her teammates who came running over as soon as Subzero was finished. Will she be all right? Asked Mito, who looked at her sleeping friend with worry. She will be fine, the seal I used will seal off that mark as long as she or I will it to, answered Subzero, who quickly gained a serious look. Now tell me what happened. Can we do later, we need to get Sayuri-chan to a medic, said Kiba, not wanting to tell Subzero about the event since it was quite embarrassing for them. Okay, I want the details later, but I think I can guess W. Had happened. Orochimaru turned up, kicked all your asses 6 ways to Sunday, gave her that mark and left without even a scratch. Am I in the ballpark? Asked Subzero, making the two blush in embarrassment. NT, I take it from your neo-red faces I hit the nail on the head. Getting 2 sad nods, he tries to cheer them up. Hey, cheer up, you fought a Sannin and lived, said Subzero, making them brighten up. Sly TLY. Granted he let you live and probably didn't even use 5% of his chakra, it's still a somewhat good accomplishment, he finished with an eye smile missing the clouds hanging over both their heads. Thanks, Subzero, you made us feel so much better, said Kiba sarcastically. No problem, I'm always happy to help, Subzero replied, apparently oblivious to the sarcasm. I was being sarcastic, you moron, yelled Kiba, who had a tick mark on his forehead. You say something, asked Subzero whilst mentally thanking Kakashi. That's it, you're dead, yelled the Inuzuka, only for Mito to bash him in the head. Shut up Kiba, we need to get to the tower, said Mito. Well, now that you two have stopped bickering we can finally go, said Subzero, making Mito and Kiba glare at him in annoyance, but not wanting to start another argument they left it alone. With Subzero carrying Sayuri, they headed towards the tower. Well, that's it for now. Sorry again about the long wait for this chapter, I've had some major family issues to deal with. Also, what do you think of this for a story? When the Sage of Six Paths split the 10 tails into the tailed beasts, he used the remaining chakra to create something else, perfect mix between chakra and man, and gave his creation a single goal: to protect the sage's family until he deems them no longer worthy of his protection. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this chapter no matter how short it was. See ya next time. Yo, everyone, sorry, it has taken me so long to update this story. I've started college and that takes up most of my time, and what time I have spare is normally working. Also, the website deleted what I already had written for this chapter and all my other chapters since it's been so long. But oh well, not like I need them or anything. Anyway, I've looked through the reviews, most are all nice feedback, which is appreciated, but to all of the haters all I can say is I really don't care about your opinion in the slightest, so take them somewhere else, okay? Now nothing else to say, so on with the story. Last time. Okay, I want the details later, but I think I can guess what happened. Orochimaru turned up, kicked all your asses 6 ways to Sunday, Gav. Eat her that mark and left without even a scratch. Am I in the ballpark? Asked Subzero, making the two blush in embarrassment. I take it from your neo-red faces I hit the nail on the head, getting 2s. Ad nods. He tries to cheer them up. Hey, cheer up, you fought a Sannin and lived, said Subzero, making them brighten up slightly. Granted he let you live and probably didn't even use 5% of his chakra, it's still a somewhat good accomplishment, he finished with an eye smile missing the clouds hanging over both their heads. Thanks, Subzero, you made us feel so much better, said Kiba sarcastically. No problem, I'm always happy to help, Subzero replied, apparently oblivious to the sarcasm. I was being sarcastic, you moron, yelled Kiba, who had a tick mark on his forehead. You say something, asked Subzero whilst mentally thanking Kakashi. That's it, you're dead, yelled the Inuzuka, only for Mito to bash him in the head. Shut up Kiba, we need to get to the tower, said Mito. Well, now that you have stopped bickering we can finally go, said Subzero, making Mito and Kiba glare at him in annoyance, but not wanting to start another argument they left it alone. With Subzero carrying Sayuri, they headed towards the tower. Exam tower. Where is he? Yelled a pissed off Kuritsuchi, annoyed that Naruto had randomly left her with her annoying teammate who kept spouting bullshit about them being in love, making her feel sick to her stomach at the very idea of it. Suchi-chan, Ice Cube must have died in that forest. We're better off going inside and resting. I'll even give you a massage so help you relax more, offered Akatsuchi with a perverted grin on his face and a small nosebleed. Gritting her teeth, Kuritsuchi ignores her teammate and continues to look for any sign of her other teammate. And, after another 5 minutes of waiting and stopping herself from melting her teammate, Subzero dropped down from a nearby tree and, much to her horror, holding a girl in his arms, about to shout at him. 2 more shinobi jumped down with him, one of which made her eyes narrow in hate, recognizing the red-headed one as the Yellow Flash's daughter. Yo, Kuro-chan, thanks for waiting, I needed to investigate that foul Chakra, said Subzero with an eye smile, only for her to turn her head away from him. Looks like you did more than investigate, sending a glare towards Sayuri. If that blonde bimbo wasn't enough, now you have an emo and a tomato, said Kurostuchi, making Subzero sigh. Kuro-chan, there is a reason behind this and I will explain, but we should get inside first, okay? Fine, but if you Nation isn't good enough, then you applying quickly, trying not to piss her off. The two groups head towards the exit and take out their scrolls. So what do we do with them? Asked Mito. I've read the message on them, it's a riddle, and to be honest a rather simple one, just open them at the same time, said Subzero, who tried passing Sayuri to Kiba so he could unseal his scrolls, but she clung to him, which made a tick mark form on Kuritsuchi and Mito's heads. After prying her off and unsealing the scrolls, Subzero and Mito opened them, creating a large puff of smoke which soon cleared, revealing Roshi and Iruka. Iruka-sensei, exclaimed Mito and Kiba in surprise. As the conscious members of Team 7 spoke to their old sensei, Roshi walked over to his team. Congratulations Team 6, but I did expect you back sooner, said Roshi, looking at Subzero with a look that said, explain. Well, some things came up that I had to deal with, said Subzero with a dismissive wave whilst sending a discreet sequence of code with his other hand. Explain later. Well then, let's get inside to rest. You still have 4 days to relax before the other teams get here, said Roshi as he led his team inside, followed closely by Team 7 and Iruka. Getting inside the tower, Team 6 were taken to their quarters to rest and relax. Subzero, I think now is the best time to explain what went on during the second phase, said Roshi, with Kuritsuchi nodding in agreement. Well, after beating the squad of Anbu, I sensed a foul and dark chakra that I recognized. I went to investigate and found the Uchiha about to break a sound shinobi's arms whilst her team begged her to stop. After subduing her easily, I sealed off the source of the foul chakra and carried her to the tower, followed by her teammates, explained Subzero. And what was the source of the foul chakra? Asked Roshi, since he doubted it was the chakra of a tailed beast. It was from a seal created by the snake Sanin Orochimaru, known as the Curse Seal, a foul piece of Funijutsu and Senjutsu. It alters the user's mind, slowly making them dependent on it and making them loyal to Orochimaru, answered Subzero with a grimace. And how do you know about it, huh? I bet you're working for that snake, accused Akatsuchi. He was about to continue his rant, but suddenly the air became heavy, making Kuritsuchi and Roshi start to sweat, struggle to breathe, but the worst as Akatsuchi, he was gasping for air as he fell to his knees, shaking in fear. You dare, came a cold whisper from Subzero, who slowly walked towards the shaking Akatsuchi, his eyes shadowed by his hair. You dare, yelled Subzero, his Ki reaching its peak, making a yellow puddle appear under the downed Akatsuchi. Picking up the Iwa shinobi by his throat, he brought him to eye level. Akatsuchi for the first time saw the sheer anger in his now white eyes. I will give you this one warning, and one warning only. If you ever put me in league with that snake again, you will know the true meaning of pain. Am I clear? Asked Subzero, looking into the fearful eyes of Akatsuchi. I said am I clear? Shouted Subzero. Yes, sweet Kami, yes, stuttered Akatsuchi in sheer terror, dropping him to the floor and stopping his flow of Ki. Subzero sends a quick apology to Roshi and Kuritsuchi and calmly walks out the room, leaving 2 stunned people and one on the brink of passing out. After a minute's silence, Kuritsuchi decides to ask the question on everyone's mind. What the fuck was that about? I've never seen him so angry, asked Kuritsuchi, still shocked from Subzero's anger. I don't know, but let's give him some space for now and let him calm down, said Roshi, making Kuritsuchi frown but nod in acknowledgement. With that, the two went to prepare for the next coming days, not seeing the angry and crazed look on Akatsuchi's face. I swear, Subzero, I'll make you pay for this humiliation, and when I do, I'll take everything you hold dear, including Kuritsuchi. 4 days later. 4 days had passed since Team 6 had arrived at the tower, and the verbal thrashing Subzero gave Akatsuchi, with the second phase now over and all the teams that made it ready to fight, they all waited for the announcement. Roshi-sensei, have you seen Subzero-kun? I haven't seen him since we got here, asked Kuritsuchi, worried that Subzero might have left. I'm sure he will turn up soon. Some people in this room would be rather pissed if he didn't, yourself included, said Roshi as he looked around the room, but more specifically at Samui, Sayuri, and Mito. And as if Kami herself wished it, Subzero appeared in a swirl of ice and snow, surprising those who hadn't seen him do it before. Yo, he greeted with his normal eye smile. Yo, that's all you say after I've been worried about you for 4 days, yelled Kuritsuchi. Sorry, he quickly added, making Rosh and the surrounding people sweat drop. Arg, forget it, I'm not talking to you. She yelled and walked away, standing near Akatsuchi, making him grin perv. Ursly, whilst he and Roshi had the exact same thought, yeah, cause that's gonna last. Ignoring the drama, for now Team 6 and the other teams waited in silence for the proctor to start. I really can. TB asked to do the cough thing for Hayate, so just pretend it's there. Congratulations on making it this far into the exam, but unfortunately there are too many of you to compete in the third and final part of the exam, so to solve this we will be having preliminary matches selected at random by this computer behind me, said Hayate, point to the big screen. Now then, before we begin I have to ask if any of you would like to quit now. I barely made it here and I'm nearly out of chakra, said Kabuto, accepting his answer and letting him go. Hayate looks around once again. Anyone else? No. Good, then we can begin. Now please pay attention to the board, said Hayate as the board began to randomize the names, eventually stopping on Sayuri Uchiha and Yoroi Akato. Would the fighters please come down to the arena, said Hayate. Yoroi, eager to prove his worth to Orochimaru, jumped into the area, whilst Sayuri was quickly pulled aside by her sensei Kakashi. Remember Sayuri, we don't know how table the seal Subzero placed on you, so try and avoid using any chakra. Reluctantly agreeing, Sayuri walks down to the arena. It's about time, bitch, I'm going to prove that you're nothing compared to me, said Yoroi. TCH, you should feel honored, I even accepted fighting trash like you, she mocked, pissing off her opponent even more. Alright, if both combatants are ready then begin, yelled Hayate as he jumped to a safe distance. I'm going to enjoy this, said Yori as he took it with surprising speed and two glowing blue hands. About to go into a defensive stance, Sayuri lets out an agonizing scream of pain that came from her cursed seal. What was that? I thought this thing was sealed, she questioned. Don't get distracted, yelled Yoroi as he grabbed her head with his two glowing hands. Seeing his advantage, Yoroi pins her to the ground. Is this all the mighty Uchiha has? Pathetic, sneered Yoroi. My cc Hakra, croaked Sayuri, feeling her chakra drain. Orochimaru, who was disguised as the Sound Jonin, watched the match with interest. It seems Yoroi's ability to absorb chakra is proving quite a challenge for her, but why won't the seal activate with me nearby? It shouldn't be possible for her to fight back the urge to use it, and Kakashi doesn't have the sealing knowledge to completely seal it off, so why? Orochimaru asked himself before a certain someone caught his eye. Of course. Kukuku, he's here, he must have sealed it away. Always the thorn in my side, aren't you, Naruto-kun? Back to the fight, Sayuri bite back the pain and finally got the strength to kick Yoroi of her, making skid back a fair bit. Oh, you still have some fight left. Good, this would be boring otherwise, said Yoroi. Up in the stands, Mito and Kiba were watching the fight in annoyance, since even with her disadvantage they expected Sayuri to win easily. Oi Sayuri, is that all you have? What happened to the mighty Uchiha? Yelled Mito, pissing Sayuri off. Shut up, tomato head, I don't need you telling me that. Then Fu know how to do that, right? 'Cause so far this is embarrassing, yelled Kiba. Ignoring her teammates, Sayuri begins to focus on the fight. Alright, he can absorb my chakra, but he needs to touch me for that to work. I have about half my reserves left, enough for about 3 jutsu, and using my Sharingan for a few minutes. Though Sayuri, as she quickly tried to come up with a battle strategy, before a small smile appeared on her face. Alright, trash, this fight is over, declared Sayuri, activating her Sharingan and looking straight at Yoroi, who mentally shuddered at the sight of the dojutsu. It's going to take more than that to beat me, yelled Yoroi, charging her with glowing hands once again, who smirked when he saw her pain-filled face and unmoving body, grabbing onto her arms and pinning her to the ground once again. Yoroi cackled in glee. Ha ha ha, was that your battle plan, getting the rest of your chakra taken? He mocked. You're a fool, was all Sayuri said as she shattered, revealing it was all an illusion. What shit genjutsu? Kai, yelled Yoroi, breaking the illusion, but was too late. His entire body was caught in ninja wire. It's over. Fire release. Dragon fire technique, yelled Sei. Sending a large burst of fire along the wire and straight to Yoroi, who watched in horror as the fire traveled up the wires, but before the fire hit him, Hayate jumped down and used the water bullet jutsu to put it out. I won't have any unnecessary deaths. The winner is Sayuri Uchiha, declared Sayuri, making Team 6 and their graduating class cheer for their friend. With a small smirk, Sayuri walked up to the balcony and was soon bombarded with questions, all of which she chose to ignore. "Alright, now time for the next fight," said Hayate, making everyone look at the board as it randomized before stopping. "Alright, will Kuritsuchi and Shino Aburame come down to the arena?" "Good luck, Suchi-chan, I know you'll win," said Akatsuchi, making her scoff. "Of course I will," she replied before walking off, still ignoring Subzero. "Alright, if you're both ready then begin. You know you should probably give up," said Kuritsuchi, making the logical bug users confused. "And why would I do that? It isn't very logical to give up without even starting," asked the bug user. "Well, back in Iowa we have a clan of bug users as well, and they refuse to fight me due to my lava release since it will kill their bugs on contact, and considering this isn't a real fight I would think you wouldn't want your bugs to die," she replied. After a few seconds of thinking it over, Shino nods. "Your answer is logical, Proctor Ifo. RFEIT, getting an understanding nod from Hayate, winner Kutosaki of Iowa. Walking back up to the balcony and getting a load of unneeded praise from Akatsuchi, the board began to randomize again, and when it stopped there were mixed reactions. "Oh boy," said Roshi, knowing this wouldn't end well. "Agreed," said Kuritsuchi. "Cool," muttered Samui. "This won't be good," muttered Kakashi, putting his book away. "This is going to be awesome," yelled Mito. "Troublesome," muttered Shikamaru. "Kukuku, this will be interesting, though, Orochimaru." "Alright, will Akatsuchi of Iowa and Subzero please come down to the arena," said Hayate. "Yes, I can finally kick that bastard's ass," yelled Akatsuchi. "You ran to the arena. Sigh, this will be boring," muttered Subzero, who appeared in a swirl of ice and snow in the arena. "Okay, if both fighters are ready then begin," yelled Hayate, jumping further away than he did with the other fights. Having heard how strong Subzero was, he didn't want to take any risks. "Let's get this other with," Subzero muttered in a bored tone, knowing this wouldn't be a long fight. "Don't look down on me, you bastard. I'll show you who's stronger." "Earth release. Rock pillar spears," yelled Katsuchi, trying to create a pillar to shot out from underneath Subzero, but nothing happened. "What the hell, why won't it work?" he yelled before shooting his opponent a dirty look. "What did you do?" demanded Akatsuchi. "Nothing, all I did was freeze the earth under me so you couldn't manipulate it, nothing special," answered Subzero casually, making Akatsuchi and most of the crowd go wide-eyed at such a simple yet ingenious way to stop someone using earth jutsu. "Arg, you think you're so clever? Well, I'll show you. Not even you can stop this technique. It's been passed down from generation to generation of my family, the ultimate earth jutsu," declared Akatsuchi, who started to go through a long sequence of hand signs. "Please go ahead, this was starting to get more boring than I thought it would," sigh. Subzero, making some of the Jonin frown. "Balcony. Such arrogance, letting an opponent use a powerful jutsu when he could finish the fight now," said Kurenai, only for Kakashi to speak. "It's not arrogant. It's confidence in his power, and trust me, he has the right to be given how strong he is." "Surely you're joking, Kakashi. I know you said he was an A-rank Ronin, but to let someone use such a powerful technique is just plain arrogant," said Asuma, trying to defend his secret crush. "No, ya fools, Mr. Chill doesn't like to fight without a thrill, ya dig," rapped the sensei from Kumo, confusing them, making Samui sigh and translate for them. He said Subzero doesn't like to have boring fights. He likes the thrill of a good fight and will give his opponents the edge if he gets bored to make it more entertaining. "Oh, and how would you know this, my youthful friend?" asked Guy. "Mr. Freeze can bring me to my knees whilst me and my partner are working together," rapped Killer Bee, making the senseis look to Samui for a translation again. "He said that Subzero can beat him when he and Hachabi are working together," said Samui, making their jaws drop. Beating a normal Jinchuriki was near impossible even with an entire squad, but beating one that cooperates with its tailed beast on your own was insane. "Shish, he's finished the jutsu," said Mito, making the senseis go back to watching the fight. "Arena. No. Feel my wrath. Subzero earth release. Secret technique, ultimate earth and rock golem," yelled Akatsuchi and placed his hands on the ground, making it rumble like a mini earthquake. Subzero and the spectators watched as the earth under Akatsuchi started to rise and change shape, and after a few seconds Akatsuchi was standing atop a large one-eyed golem. "Ha ha ha, this is my ultimate technique. You're done, Subzero." This could be fun after all. Chilling air slicer," said Subzero, slashing his arm through the air, sending a blue slash straight at the golem who blocked it with its arm, freezing it almost. Instantly. So much for ultimate technique, said Subzero, but was mildly surprised when the golem shattered its own arm and grew it back almost as quickly as it froze. That won't work. All the Dama the golem receives can be healed instantly by the earth under it. Face it, your finished golem. Use the rock cannon. Following its creators' orders, the golem's arms transform into giant cannons and be eager to fire large boulders at Subzero, something he could dodge easily. As this it Akatsuchi throwing rocks, that's all this thing can do. How disappointing, he mocked, dodging the boulders easily. Arg, you arrogant bastard, let's see how you handle this. Golem use stalagmite pitfall, commanded Akatsuchi. Stopping its foot, the golem opened up the earth, making Subzero fall down the small chasm only to see large stalagmites at the bottom. So boring, muttered Subzero as he created his kamas and dug them into the wall, stopping his descent. Quickly, golem, close the chasm, ordered Akatsuchi, shock king some people thinking he would kill his own teammate. With a quick stomp of his foot, the chasm closed. Ha ha ha, that's what you get, you arrogant bastard, and now Kuritsuchi is mine, laughed Akatsuchi. Balcony. I knew his arrogance would be his downfall, said Kurenai. What a shame, but the kid was asking for it, said Asuma, taking out a cigarette. Killing your own teammate is unyouthful, yelled Guy. That moron, mumbled Samui, the head looking to the floor. Thinking the girl was upset, Kurenai went to try and comfort her but stopped when her head shot up. Subzero, if you don't, then I swear I'll mock you go to every one of Killer Bee's rapping concerts, yelled Samui. Thinking the girl was in denial about her friend's death, Guy, Kurenai and Asuma sent her sympathetic looks, only for that to turn to shock when they heard a familiar voice. Geez, Samui-chan, no need to threaten me, I was just about to show myself. Looking back to the arena, the senseis see Subzero standing there without even a hair out of place. How? Asked Kurenai. Watch the fight and find out, said Kakashi, who hadn't taken his eye off the fight for a second. Arena. How are you still alive? Demanded Akatsuchi. Well, why? Oh, you started to close the chasm. I froze the area I was in and used my tombstone teleport to get out. Simple really, but I'm bored of this fight now, so I'll end it. But since you showed me your best technique, I'll show you one of mine. Golem, stop him now, demanded Akatsuchi. Following his orders, the great golem launches a right punch at the unmoving Subzero. It's over, Subzero. For you, maybe ice time capsule. And that's it for now. Jutsu list my own creations. Earth release. Secret technique, ultimate earth and rock golem. The golem looks like the one in the manga. The gamer uses the earth create a powerful golem, its size depending on the chakra used to make it. This golem is special since it will heal itself using the earth and chakra surrounding it. Chilling air slicer. The user's ills the air to the point it's a gas of liquid nitrogen and slashes his arm, created a blade of nitrogen that freezes on contact. Stalagmite pitfall. The user's creates a large chasm, the size depending on the chakra used, with large stalagmites at the bottom used to impale the victim. Well, I hope you enjoyed this chapter. Sorry it took so long for me to update. I have college to attend now, but I'll try to update more frequently from now on. Don't forget to leave a review to tell me what you think. Until next time, not a chapter. Yo everyone, as the title suggests, this isn't a chapter, but I have found a way to use my broken laptop and have a few spare hours a day, so I will start writing new chapters for a few of my fics. Really sorry for the long wait, but hey, better late than never and all that jazz.